Chapter 1094. Even Li Wuji and Lady Wu thought that Jiang Tian was too reckless. This place was strange and full of surprises. There were many forces and overlords. To be safe, Jiang Tian should sneak into the Changshan sect to assassinate the sect master, or find out his whereabouts and ambush him. Or he could slowly gather his strength and plan. Only Tang Linglong was standing behind Jiang Tian. Her eyes were filled with disdain as she looked down on everyone. She was extremely confident in Jiang Tian, Celestial Master Star Butcher. Among the members of the Mao family, only Mao Hongdai looked at Jiang Tian with admiration. Her eyes were full of admiration, and her chest was heaving violently. Even if Jiang Tian was only at the foundation establishment level, and was no match for the Changshan sect, at least Jiang Tian's courage was admirable. Why does Celestial Master Star Butcher want to destroy the Changshan sect? This is not a joke. If this news gets out, it will cause a great disaster. Mao Bohu asked in surprise. He was indeed the lord of a city. After a moment of shock, he calmed down. Of course it's not a joke. Jiang Tian smiled and said calmly, "Have you heard of Kong Teichu, the principal of the Tianqing school on earth?" Kong Teichu. At the mention of this name, everyone turned pale with fright. Kong Teichu had once destroyed the Brahmin descendants of the Changshan sect on earth. The Tianqing school had once killed 2 overlords on earth, severely injured monk Xianglong, and defeated the attack of the Changshan sect. Jiang Taichu's name had long since reverberated throughout this world. To them it was like thunder piercing their ears. Mao Bohu suddenly realized something. His face changed drastically and he said in a trembling voice, "Could it be that Celestial Master Star Butcher is Kong Teichu?" "That's me." Jiang Tian looked calm. He sipped his tea leisurely and said with a half-smile, "The Changshan sect is different from the Changshan sect. The Changshan cult is at odds with me. They regard me as a ferocious beast. If you report it, you will be rewarded handsomely." As soon as these words were spoken, it wasn't just the Mao family. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Their hearts palpitated in disbelief. Even Li Wuji put his hand to his forehead, feeling a headache coming on. Jiang Tian was too domineering. He didn't use any schemes or tricks at all. He just confronted them head-on. It was simple and crude. If his identity was completely exposed, wouldn't he become a target of public criticism? You are the famous Jiang Taichu?" Mao Hongdai looked at Jiang Tian in disbelief, as if she had seen her savior. "Immortal Master Jiang, to tell you the truth, the Mao clan also has an irreconcilable feud with the Changshan sect." Mao Bohu stood up and bowed respectfully. "I dare guarantee that even if I'm unable to cooperate with Immortal Master Jiang, I'll absolutely not become enemies with Immortal Master Jiang. And I'll absolutely not reveal the slightest bit of information about Immortal Master Jiang to the outside world. As for whether we should go with Immortal Master Jiang to attack the Changshan sect, this is an important matter. Allow me to discuss it with the elders." "Go ahead." Jiang Tian sipped his tea leisurely and chuckled. "Hongdai, Maoshi, you two come with me to attend the family meeting. Billion, you stay here and entertain Immortal Master Jiang. Don't neglect him." Mao Bohu was swift and decisive. He immediately called for a family meeting. "Yes. Immortal Master Jiang, please wait for a moment." Mao Hongdai looked at Jiang Tian with reverence and left with Mao Bohu. "Immortal Master Jiang, please have some tea." After everyone left, Mao Billion was trembling all over and her face was pale. She knew that she had been left here as a hostage. Otherwise, Jiang Tian wouldn't have let the clansmen leave to discuss the matter. Once the clansmen decided to side with the Changshan sect, Jiang Tian would definitely start a massacre. She would be the first to bear the brunt of the massacre. In a secret chamber, Mao Bohu glanced at his uncles, elders, guests, and warriors and said in a low voice, "What should we do? What should we do? We can't afford to offend either side. Let's stay out of this and pretend that we've never met him." Mao Shi said decisively. "Even if he's Kong Teichu, he's still a mortal from the mortal world. How can he be a match for the Changshan sect? Besides, the Changshan sect has the support of Thunder Mountain. We're from a small place with tens of thousands of weak soldiers. How can we shake these cultivation sects and famous mountains?" A white-bearded elder said coldly, "Maoshi, The Changshan sect has taken people's bodies to prolong their lives. Do you know how many of our clansmen have died in their hands over the years? I know. Mao Shi's eyes twitched and he said with shame. Since the establishment of the Mao clan 120 years ago, 283 of our clansmen have been taken over by them. Some of them have failed, and some of them have succeeded. Yes. Although we are a family of cultivators, and we are even granted cultivation arts and pills by them, we are only regarded as cauldrons and artificial bodies that carry the memories of their souls. The white-bearded elder said angrily. In particular, if the artificial bodies fail to be possessed, their minds will be deranged. Their bodies will decay, fester, and suffer all kinds of diseases. They will suffer the excruciating pain as if they are in purgatory, just like pigs and dogs. When the crowd heard this, some of them clenched their fists tightly, their faces filled with grief and indignation. Some of them shook their heads and sighed, as if they couldn't bear to recall the past. Everyone knew that this was the white-bearded elder's wife. She had been sent to the Changshan sect as a furnace for the saintess. Later, she failed to possess her body. Her soul was disordered and she couldn't drink any water. After 7 days and 7 nights, she starved to death. Red Butterfly's disfigurement was caused by herself. Mao Bohu sighed. She was chosen as the saintess by the Changshan sect. Red Butterfly didn't want to be a puppet and forget her family, so she cut her face and soaked it in the venom of the hellfire spider. Hearing this, everyone exclaimed. The hellfire spider was highly poisonous. Mao Red Butterfly had to suffer a lot. Not only could she never recover from the damage, but her life would also be severely shortened. Normally, she wouldn't live past 40 years old. However, everyone immediately understood and sighed. Mao Hongdai had used such an unrecoverable method to destroy herself and cut off the Changshan Church's hope. She was as resolute as any man. I've never regretted it. I've never regretted it. Mao Red Butterfly's eyes were dull and hollow. She shook her head and said, once the body is possessed, it can still survive, but it doesn't belong to me anymore. I'm already dead. It's good to live another 20 years. At that time, I understood and even supported Red Butterfly's actions. Mao Bohu smiled bitterly and tears came out of his eyes. He said bitterly, but I couldn't resist the Changshan sect. I'm an incompetent father. No, father. At least you let me know the truth and give me the right to choose. Mao Red Butterfly said calmly. In fact, in this world, the Changshan sect was also regarded as a sacred sect, comparable to the Golden Rock Temple. Most mortals didn't know the truth of body possession. Some of the upper echelons knew the secret and hated it, but they didn't dare to spread it out. If the Changshan sect knew about it, they would be sentenced to death. The other group of people were supportive of this. They even thought that it was an honor for their loved ones to be possessed. Because the Changshan sect never said that it was body possession, but insisted that it was the reincarnation of the Holy Child Holy Spirit. These possessed bodies didn't cut off the relationship with their original loved ones. Their loved ones would be protected by the Changshan sect and enjoy many benefits. That was why everyone present knew that it wasn't that easy to overthrow the Changshan sect. The Changshan sect had hundreds of millions of followers in the northern region. There were only a few who opposed the Changshan sect. The difference in strength was too great. Mao Bohu's eyes emitted a sharp killing intent as he said, Immortal Master Jiang is the most powerful person on earth. If we follow him, we should have a chance to overthrow the Changshan sect. Can we do it with just the few of us? Mao Shi didn't have much confidence in Jiang Tian and the Mao family. Everyone was silent. No one could say a word. Strength. Strength. There were dozens of golden core overlords in the Changshan sect and countless foundation establishment and chi refinement cultivators. It was impossible for them to defeat the Changshan sect. It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. Ashi, you have to know that we don't have a choice. A skinny elder said in a deep voice, That's right. Red Butterfly was chosen as a saintess when she was young. In exchange, Miss Billion was chosen as an inner sect disciple. According to the rules of the Changshan sect, the Mao family is responsible for raising and protecting Red Butterfly. Red Butterfly's face was damaged and her life was shortened. The Changshan sect will be furious. If they pursue the matter, the Mao family will have to bear the responsibility. Kill the whole family. Yes. Fairy Luo Mei will be here soon to examine the Holy Child Saintess. What should we do? Panic and desperation appeared in everyone's eyes. They were at their wits' end. My original plan was that in the next few days, our Mao family would pack up our belongings, leave Maolin City, and escape to the remote mountains and swamps where there are few people. Mao Boha's voice was deep and there was a hint of reluctance in it. But I don't want to give up 100 years of foundation. I'm ashamed to face my ancestors. However, we don't have any other choice. But now, the Tai Chu Celestial Master is here. At this moment, a guard hurriedly rushed in and said with a panicked expression, "What's the matter?" "City Lord, this is bad. The immortal masters of the Beast Trainer sect are here. They don't look friendly. They want to kill us." Chapter 1095. What are they doing here? Mao Boha's body instantly trembled as he turned pale with fright. A wisp of deep fear appeared in the depths of his eyes. The Beast Trainer sect was a famous sect in the western region of West Earth World. Although it was far inferior to the Chongqing sect, 13 small cities like Maolin Town within a 500-mile radius had to respect it. The Beast Trainer sect was only a third-rate sect in West Earth World, but it was a cultivation sect after all. It was good at rearing beasts, and was much more powerful than the cities and families. Even if a disciple came to the mortal world, Mao Bohu and the leaders of the cities and families would not dare to be disrespectful. They had to treat them with caution. The 3 immortals of the Beast Trainer sect came riding scaled pythons. This kind of strange beast was as thick as a bucket and over 100 meters long. Its scales were as thick as steel, and it looked like a giant python. However, it had a pair of fleshy wings that allowed it to fly as fast as lightning. Its mouth was as big as a bloody basin, and its golden yellow vertical pupils were cold and intimidating. The 3 immortals of the Beast Trainer sect arrived at the City Lord Mansion. Mao Bohu and the others immediately stopped the meeting and hurried out to greet them. They bowed respectfully. "Did you kill Wugonger? Do you know that she's a beast reared by the Beast Trainer sect?" The leader of the group shouted angrily. He was wearing a linen robe. The robe was dyed with all kinds of pictures of hunting and rearing beasts. It was the symbol of the Beast Trainer sect. This person had dark skin and a skinny body. His long hair was loose, and he was barefoot. He was full of the aura of the wild, but when he opened and closed his eyes, light shot out. He was a peak stage foundation establishment overlord. He was full of a demonic power. His soul energy was much stronger than ordinary people. He could subdue and communicate with beasts. "Wugonger is a beast reared by your sect? Please forgive me, Guardian Shoulong. I didn't know anything about that." Mao Bohu was shocked. Then he said happily, "Wugonger is a centipede. That Wugong, is a centipede demon. He wreaks havoc in and out of Maolin City every day. He has eaten hundreds of people alive. I have no choice but to kill him," he said with a pitiful look. "Guardian Shoulong, if I knew that Wugonger was a beast of your sect, I wouldn't have dared to kill her. Please forgive me. This junior is willing to pay a hefty compensation." "Mao Bohu, do you think we're beggars?" Guardian Shoulong flew into a rage and said coldly, "Whoever killed someone, come and receive your death. There's no room for discussion." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone trembled in fear. Although they were angry, they didn't dare to say anything. The beast-controlling sect had dominated this area for 400 years. No one dared to provoke them. The son of the governor of the neighboring Hudong city was besieged by demon beasts raised by the beast-controlling sect when he was traveling. When he broke out of the encirclement, he injured the wing of a night owl and was killed on the spot by the experts of the beast-controlling sect who came after him. He was fed to the strange beasts, and not even his bones were left behind. However, the city lord of River East City did not even dare to fart. He could only endure the pain of losing his son and swallow his pride. The atmosphere was extremely heavy, and the unbearable pressure was suffocating. Only 1 minute had passed, but to everyone, it felt like 10,000 years had passed. Amidst the oppressive silence, Mao Shi's face darkened. Suddenly, he gritted his teeth and pointed to Jiang Tian, who was drinking in the hall. He said, Senior Wugong was not killed by us. It was him. Maoshi, what nonsense are you spouting? Seeing this, Mao Bohu was furious and his eyes were about to burst. Mao Hongdia's eyes were filled with killing intent as she shouted. Maoshi, he is my savior. How dare you bite the hand that feeds you? You have caused the Mao family to be unjust. I will not let you off. Maoshi gritted his teeth and said, City Lord Red Butterfly, your plan will not succeed. Don't be deceived by this scoundrel. At this time, the three experts of the beast-controlling sect had already turned their gazes to Jiang Tian. They mocked him. City Lord Mao, are they from the Yanhuang tribe? The Yanhuang tribe is an inferior race with low cultivation levels. How could they kill Wugong, who has foundation establishment strength? Do you think I will let you off just because you found a scapegoat? Inferior race with low cultivation levels. Are you talking about me? Before he had finished speaking and Mao Bohu had yet to answer, Jiang Tian had already stood up and walked out slowly. Beside him, Tang Linglong and Mao Bilian followed closely. However, Mao Bilian's beautiful eyes were twinkling and her lips were pursed slightly. She was gloating. She also felt that the Mao family was seeking their own death by associating themselves with Jiang Tian. And now everything was fine. With Jiang Tian standing up, not only would there be someone to take the blame for the accidental killing of Wugong, but once Jiang Tian was killed, the Chongqing sect would not come knocking on their door. Impudent. The leader, Shou Long, looked down at Jiang Tian like he was looking at an ant. He shouted angrily, the Yanhuang tribe is an inferior race. When they see us, the ancient Tianju tribe, they have to kneel and kowtow. When they see a strong cultivator like me, they have to kowtow 3 times and 9 times before they can stand up and speak. How dare you be so disrespectful? Do you want to die? You lowly peasant, you are like an ant. How dare you face us? You are courting death. The person on the left said mockingly. The person on the right patted the head of the scaled python and said coldly, you killed a mutated beast raised by the beast trainer sect. According to the law, you should be executed. Now you will be the food of the scaled python. It is your good fortune from your previous life. The scaled python was salivating. Its eyes were filled with greed, as though Jiang Tian was a delicious dish. Swallow him and take revenge for Wugong. But the Mao family cannot escape the blame. We will kill 10 people later. The leader, Shou Long, made the final decision and announced Jiang Tian's death sentence. As soon as he said this, the entire city lord residence was silent. No one dared to voice their anger. Only Mao Shi looked at Jiang Tian with a mocking smile, taking pleasure in Jiang Tian's misfortune. Elders, Master Celestial Star Butcher just came out of seclusion. He didn't know Wugong's background, so he killed her by mistake. As long as you let Master Celestial Star Butcher go, I will agree to any condition. Mao Bohu stepped forward and wanted to explain for Jiang Tian. However, Shou Long was furious. He moved his mouth and the scaled python under him swung its tail, sending Mao Bohu flying. Mao Bohu, of course you will give us crystals, beautiful women and grand medicine, but this person must die. Although Mao Bohu was an early-stage foundation establishment overlord, the scaled python was a mutated beast. It was as strong as a mountain, and its strength was comparable to a late-stage foundation establishment overlord. However, Mao Bohu was beaten until his face was as pale as paper. A mouthful of blood was stuck in his throat, and he could not say a word. How can you be so unreasonable? How can you hurt someone just because of a disagreement? Mao Hongdai supported Mao Bohu and shouted with tears in her eyes. Immortals, do you know that my sister has been chosen as the saintess of the Chongqing sect? She will join the sect soon. Mao Bilian felt sorry for her father, and went forward to threaten them. Haha, do you think I don't know? Mao Hongdai is disfigured and her lifespan is running out. You should thank the Chongqing sect for not killing you. How dare you threaten us with this? Shou Long cackled. Then he said with a serious face, hurry up and leave. All of you, back off quickly. If you dare to spout any more nonsense, I'll exterminate your entire Mao clan and replace you with this obedient brat. Everyone's heart skipped a beat when they heard what Shou Long had said. When it rains, it pours. They were already having a headache when the Changshan sect wanted to inspect Mao Hongdai. Now they had to deal with the vicious beast-controlling sect. The Mao family was no match for them. They would be devoured completely. Sigh, I told the city lord that Wu Gong'er could eat people if she wanted to. The beast-controlling sect is not that easy to deal with. However, Mao Bohu is a kind person. He wants to protect the people by killing Wu Gong'er. Look, the demonic beast was killed, but now we're facing a huge disaster. An elder sighed sadly in his heart. Mao Hongdia's heart was filled with rage as she looked at the experts of the beast-controlling sect who were sitting high on the scaled python's neck and looking down at the crowd like gods. Mao Hongdia's teeth chattered as she looked at the many members of the Mao family who were angry, but did not dare to speak up. She hated the beast-controlling sect, the Changshan sect, and the Golden Rock Temple of Thunder Mountain even more. The Mao family was also a noble in the mortal world. However, they were still trampled and slaughtered like pigs and dogs by the cultivation sects. It could be seen how miserable the fate of the ordinary people and the so-called untouchables of the Yanhuang tribe was. But what can we do? They are all experts in the later stage of the foundation establishment realm. One of them can destroy the Mao family. Mao Hongdai was desperate and anxious. Suddenly, he looked at Jiang Tian with a pleading gaze, as if he had seen his last life-saving straw. Wasn't he Kong Teichu, the most powerful person in the Earth world? Didn't he kill the experts of the Changshan sect before? Would he stand out and help? Under Mao Red Butterfly's pleading gaze, Jiang Tian slowly took a step forward. His gaze was as sharp as a knife. He said calmly, I came here to destroy the Changshan sect. However, it seems that there are too many people in this world who deserve to be killed. Then I will start a massacre. What did you say? Shou Long was furious. We deserve to be killed? Who do you think you are? His two companions were also furious. The other two companions also looked at him with gloomy eyes. They were like wolves that were about to devour people. Mao Shi roared. Bastard, you are about to die and you still dare to act rashly. If you kneel down now, you may have a chance to live. I say, you don't know that you are about to die. Then you can be a fool. Jiang Tian smiled mockingly as he raised his jade-white hand. As he slapped, the sky and the earth cracked and the sun and moon turned upside down. Chapter 1096. With Jiang Tian's current strength, he could easily kill a golden core cultivator, let alone these three who were only in the late foundation establishment realm. Jiang Tian didn't need any moves, mystiques, or secret techniques to kill them. He just needed to casually slap them. He actually dared to attack the experts of the Beast Control sect. When he killed the experts of the West Earth on Earth, he relied on immortal treasures. His own strength is only in the Middle Foundation establishment realm. Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. Only Mao Shi's eyes were filled with mockery. A mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth as he muttered, Humph, reckless. The Earth realm is filled with weaklings. The Yanhuang tribe is even more vulnerable. Do you think this is your Earth realm? However, before his smile could fully bloom, it stiffened on his face, and he was unable to smile any longer. Instead, it turned into endless shock and astonishment. How is this possible? As Jiang Tian's palm slapped down, rumble, rumble, rumble. A loud sound like a millstone grinding rang out above everyone's heads. Hundreds of meters in the air, the invisible essence chi between heaven and earth was compressed to the extreme and smashed down like Mount Tai. What? Shou Long and the other two exclaimed and raised their heads. Unprecedented fear appeared in their eyes. Open. Shou Long and the other two struggled madly. They roared in unison and used all their secret techniques. The scales of the scaled python under its crotch exploded, and it emitted a series of sharp wails and hisses as it tried to break free. However, it still couldn't escape. In the next moment, crack! A loud sound. Shou Long and the other two, along with the terrifying scaled python beneath them, exploded simultaneously under the copious and irresistible violent pressure. They transformed into torrential waves of blood, and countless translucent drops of flesh and broken bones that sprinkled down in a disorderly manner. Rumble! A huge palm print that was more than 100 meters long and more than 10 meters deep appeared on the sturdy granite ground. The shockingly huge crack continued to spread from the palm print to the surroundings, reaching a distance of 1,000 meters. The aftermath didn't stop. The ground trembled, and the fake mountains were sent flying. The towering trees fell, and the tall buildings shook violently. At this moment, the entire city lord residence, and even the entire lush forest city, shook violently. Is it an earthquake? Could it be a golden core expert? Many people abruptly raised their heads, looking in the direction of the city lord's mansion in shock and astonishment, exclaiming in surprise. And in the city lord's mansion, Mao Hongdia's beautiful eyes widened in disbelief. The experts of the beast-controlling sect were powerful. In their eyes, they were high and mighty and could not be offended. However, at this moment, they were actually crushed by Jiang Tian as if they were ants. True immortal Jiang, I'm afraid I'll have to change the way I address you. You clearly have the cultivation of a golden core. Mao Bohu was stunned for a moment, and then he ignored his injuries and laughed heartily. He was delighted and elated. So he's actually so powerful. As expected of the number one person on earth. Mao Billian's beautiful eyes flickered with admiration. Strong. He's too strong. The other elders of the Mao family were all shocked. Jiang Tian turned to look at Li Wuji and said with a faint smile, Daoist Wuji, did you see that? The so-called deities are nothing. They can be killed all the same. Yes. I wasn't confident before, but after this battle, this old man is confident. After all, we are all mortals. Li Wuji forced a smile and said. In the crowd, only Mao Shi's heart was filled with regret and fear. He had never thought that Jiang Tian would be so powerful. Without hesitation, he knelt down and bowed his head to the ground. He kept kowtowing and begging while trembling. True immortal Jiang, please forgive me and spare my life. I just wanted to protect myself. He had even changed the way he addressed Jiang Tian. Whether or not he was a golden core cultivator, he would call him perfected immortal Jiang Tian. I've already given you a chance. Jiang Tian's eyes flashed coldly as he sneered. But you still don't know what's good for you. You've provoked me again and again. You can't be allowed to live. Mao Bohu was kind and righteous, but it didn't mean that he wasn't resolute enough. Just like Jiang Tian said, Mao Shi was narrow-minded, cowardly and vicious. If he stayed, he might inform the Chongqing sect. By then it would be a disaster for them. He pulled out a long saber and approached Mao Shi. Mao Shi, the Mao family doesn't have such an ungrateful and cowardly person like you. City Master, please give me a chance. Mao Shi's shrill begging stopped abruptly. Blood gushed out and his head flew away. Mao Bohu had already beheaded him with his saber. Mao Shi's head flew a few meters away and landed on the ground. His face was still filled with fear and shock, as if he couldn't believe that he had died so miserably. Red Butterfly, go and detain all of Mao Shi's descendants. We'll follow Master Kong and destroy the Chongqing sect. Mao Bohu ordered coldly. Since he was going to do something big, he couldn't afford to make any mistakes. Yes. Mao Red Butterfly's blood boiled as she took the order. City Master Mao, since you're going to follow me to destroy the Chongqing sect, let's have a good talk. Jiang Tian said. Okay. Mao Bohu had no other choice. Not only had he offended the Beast Trainer sect, but the special envoy of the Chongqing sect was also about to arrive to examine Mao Red Butterfly. If he didn't resist, he would die. Jiang Tian had several purposes for coming here. First, to obtain the most spiritual qi recovery seeds to prolong the lives of his wife and daughter. Second, to destroy the orthodoxy of the Chongqing sect and suppress the entire heavenly kingdom. Third, to find the heavenly materials and earthly treasures to transform into Earth elemental constitution. However, West Earth was too big. There were many forces and powerhouses. Jiang Tian couldn't afford to wait. Moreover, there were too many followers of the Chongqing sect. Therefore, Jiang Tian decided that he wouldn't waste time like he did when he attacked the Heavenly Kingdom's Saint Hall last time. Instead, he would use his identity to get close to the Chongqing sect and Lane Mountain, and kill only the most powerful ones. After listening to Jiang Tian's plan, Mao Bohu looked troubled. After pondering for a while, he heaved a sigh and said, "This is the best plan. However, the Mao family is only a small cultivation family. We don't even have the chance to enter the territory of the Changshan sect, let alone get in touch with them directly. What about the Beast Trainer sect? Jiang Tian asked. As soon as he said this, Mao Bohu immediately understood. Jiang Tian meant to intimidate the Beast Trainer sect. After all, they had offended this sect and had to be eliminated. Then he would use the Beast Trainer sect as a springboard to get in touch with the Changshan sect. However, Mao Bohu still shook his head and said regretfully, although the Beast Trainer sect is much more powerful than Malan City, it's still a third-rate sect. Even their sect master doesn't have the chance to meet the sect master of the Changshan sect. Jiang Tian frowned and pondered. Mao Red Butterfly's eyes lit up. Fan Xiuju's aunt Fan Luomei is the special envoy of the Changshan sect in the Yunnan country. She can meet the sect master of the Changshan sect. Indeed. According to the time, she will hold a lecture ceremony in a month. She will inspect the holy children and holy virgins, and select the inner disciples. We should have a chance to get close to her. Mao Bohu frowned and said, but Fan Luomei is already a middle-stage golden core cultivator. She's not easy to deal with. You're disfigured. She will blame my family and kill all of us. She might even order her subordinates to kill us. We won't even have the chance to meet her. We'll be surrounded. Even if we can get through her, you're already disfigured. How can you get a chance to join the Changshan sect? Jiang Tian suddenly asked. How did Red Butterfly get disfigured? It seems to be man-made. It was corroded by the hellfire venomous spider. Immortal Jiang, you're really smart. You even know about this kind of strange poison. Mao Bohu was shocked by Jiang Tian again and told him the whole story. After hearing the story, Jiang Tian and the others looked at Mao Hongdai in a different light. This woman was as stubborn as fire. She was willing to sacrifice her lifespan and disfigure her face rather than become a puppet. I can repair her face and even extend her lifespan. Jiang Tian said with a faint smile. Hearing that, everyone looked at each other in disbelief. The hellfire venomous spider was a primitive species that lived thousands of meters deep in the magma. Its poison contained the hellfire qi. No one in this world could cure it. But Immortal Jiang, if you can cure me and repair my face, won't the Changshan sect take a fancy to me again? Mao Hongdia's eyes were filled with conflict. All girls love to be beautiful. After being disfigured, Mao Hongdai couldn't bear the strange looks from others for a long time. She was troubled by it. Moreover, the poison had never dissipated. She felt like she was being roasted every day, as if her entire body was being burned by fire. However, when she thought about becoming a puppet of the Changshan sect and being possessed and turned into a walking corpse, she felt her hair stand on end. Hongdai, you have to have faith in me, Jiang Tian said with a smile. If this operation fails, we will all die. Is there a difference whether you are possessed or killed? That's right. Even if I die, I want to die a beautiful death. Tang Linglong was drunk, and said as she put her arm around Mao Hongdia's shoulder. Yi Karen and the others nodded. Jiang Tian's idea was good. They could use Mao Hongdai to get close to Fairy Luomei and subdue her. Yes. I have faith in Immortal Jiang. Mao Hongdai clenched her fists and said with determination. That's right. Mao Bohu and the other elders also supported Jiang Tian. Very well, Jiang Tian said with a smile. Then I will cure Hongdai and attend the scripture lecture ceremony. I want to learn from Fan Luomei. Chapter 1097. No one objected. Jiang Tian immediately made a gesture with his right hand and activated a divine power. Suddenly, an incomparably vast greenwood aura drifted out from his right hand, condensing into runes in the air, forming an array of talismans. These talismans were extremely ancient and obscure, as if they had gone through hundreds of millions of years. They were filled with the energy of Hongmeng. Every mysterious rune in the talisman was full of life energy, and seemed to be able to nourish a world. Every greenwood yuan qi particle that formed the rune was like a planet that was full of vitality, revolving and multiplying endlessly. Whirling greenwood, holy healing art. Talisman of all things recovery. Although Jiang Tian's Azure-wood divine body was only at the initial success level, it was still the supreme divine body in the universe, and was far more powerful than ordinary deity bodies. At this time, his azure wood healing divine power could cure thousands of poisons in the world, nourish everything in the world and reverse life and death. Life. Jiang Tian sighed and cast the talisman on Mao Hongdia's face in front of everyone's shocked eyes. Suddenly, the talisman of all things recovery let out endless green light. The green light floated like silk with the energy of the beginning of chaos, and enveloped Mao Hongdia's body. In the blink of an eye, the burning sensation on Mao Hongdia's body, as if she was in a blazing purgatory, disappeared without a trace, and was replaced by a refreshing feeling as if she was in a clear spring. Even her spirit was nourished, as if she had been enlightened. She had never felt such a cool, refreshing, and tranquil feeling in all these years. The earthworm-like reddish-brown scars on her face also quickly disappeared, becoming as smooth and white as a newborn baby's. At this time, the hall was surrounded by green light as if it were a paradise. The rootless flowers were blooming and the vines by the window climbed in front of Jiang Tian like green tentacles and greedily absorbed the spirit qi. In just the time of a dozen breaths, the talisman's energy was exhausted with a bang, and it shattered and collapsed, transforming into fluorescent lights that filled the sky. Mao Hongdai had returned to her original beauty in such a short time. No, she was even more beautiful than before. She had skin of ice and bones of snow, black hair draped over her shoulders like a waterfall, and her appearance was as sweet as a delicate flower shining on water, yet as cold as a snow lotus. This is too beautiful. Mao Billian's beautiful eyes widened, revealing deep envy, as well as a trace of jealousy that she herself was unwilling to admit. Am I ready? Looking at the shocked crowd, Mao Hongdai thought to herself, is Brother Jiang really that powerful? It was only a short period of time. See for yourself. Jiang Tian drew a talisman in the air, and a mirror of mystic water appeared in front of her. Is this me? Mao Hongdai touched her face. Her eyes were in a daze. She didn't dare to believe it. Her reflection in the mirror was cold, proud, and otherworldly. Her eyes were as kind as jewels, and her skin was as smooth and flawless as jade. Whether it was her nose, eyes, or mouth, they were all perfect and flawless. When put together, this face was devastatingly beautiful. She was like an immortal that had descended to the mortal world. She didn't seem like a woman of the mortal world. If she was a 1 in a million beauty before, then she was now the most beautiful girl in this world. She could drive people crazy like a femme fatale. Of course it's you. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. Jiang Tian's wood elemental life force not only restored her appearance, but also smoothed out her meridians, nourished her qi, and improved her bones. This kind of beauty was emitted from the inside out. She was more beautiful than before, and her bones were more beautiful than before. This kind of internal change would be of great benefit to her future cultivation. She would be able to improve at a rapid pace. True Immortal Jiang's supernatural powers are truly breathtaking. Everyone exclaimed in awe. This girl's temperament is excellent. She is a talent that can be molded. When I leave, she will be in charge of this world. Of course, my disciples can't be weak. Jiang Tian thought to himself. Then a crimson-red venom appeared in his palm, moving like a flame. This was the fire venom of the hellfire spider, which Jiang Tian had extracted. He threw it to the ground. Instantly, there was a crackling sound, and a large piece of the hard rock ground was corroded. The Chongqing sect is truly evil and vicious. Jiang Tian's eyes flashed with killing intent. Lightning and fire flickered as he thought to himself. You actually forced a girl to destroy her own appearance, to exhaust her vitality, and to suffer such great pain. If I don't get rid of you all, then my previous life's cultivation would have been wasted. True Immortal Jiang, thank you. Suddenly, Mao Hongdai threw herself into Jiang Tian's arms, sobbing. She vented all the grievances, pain, and fear in her heart. True Immortal Jiang, I will never forget your great kindness. And Mao Bohu and the others also knelt before Jiang Tian, kowtowing 3 times and 9 times. They were deeply grateful, as though they had seen a true god. How could there be such a strong Yan Huang tribe member? How could he restore Big Sister's appearance? Only Mao Billian's expression was not good, and she snorted. She was extremely beautiful, but her talent was far from her sister's. Only her appearance gave her a little confidence in front of her sister. Now her sister had become beautiful again, and her talent could suppress her. She was very unhappy. Everyone get up. Jiang Tian sensed her gaze and snorted coldly in his heart. After everyone got up and sat down, Jiang Tian's soul devourer spiritual sense burst out. Mao Bilian's eyes suddenly became dull. When she recovered, her expression changed drastically, and she exclaimed in shock, "Father, why is big sister in the arms of a man, and a Yan Huang tribe member at that?" The other elders and reverends also looked at each other and said in surprise, "What happened today? Why can't I remember anything?" Someone rubbed his head in pain. "I only remember that we went hunting. And then, could it be that we drank too much dangerous wine? True immortal this." Mao Bohu was shocked and almost jumped up, but he heard Jiang Tian's spiritual sense voice transmission. "For this operation, the fewer people who know, the better. I just erased their memories of the day they met me. It's not a big deal." "I see. Immortal Master Zhang's mystique is really terrifying." Mao Bohu was shocked and full of admiration. It was said that the Chongqing sect was famous for their strong psychic power, but he had never heard of them having such a mystique. So Jiang Tian and the others stayed in the city lord residence. While cultivating, they waited for Fan Luomei's arrival. At the same time, Jiang Tian also learned about the situation of West Earth from Mao Bohu and many secrets. Li Wuji, Yi Karen, Lady Wu, and Tang Linglong were like hungry people who had seen delicious food. They greedily absorbed the spiritual qi, swallowed the spiritual herbs, and cultivated crazily. The legacy of the Kunlun sect was indeed extraordinary. It was not limited by the depletion of resources and spiritual qi. Li Wuji quickly broke through to the 4th level of foundation establishment in 2 days. When he broke through, Jiang Tian sensed it immediately. He said with his immortal will, "Congratulations on breaking through a small level and finally entering the mid-stage of foundation establishment. I'm ashamed. I still can't compare with Tai Chu." Li Wuji didn't dare to be arrogant in front of Jiang Tian. "Haha, Taoist friend Wuji, now you see how vast the world outside of Earth is, and how vast the universe is," Jiang Tian said patiently. "Do you know the path to the ruins of immortality? Let's fight side by side and kill our way to the ruins of immortality. We will be the dominator of the ruins of immortality, and control the heavenly court. What do you think?" "I don't know either. It would be great if I knew." Li Wuji sighed regretfully, full of desolation and dejection. Jiang Tian smiled but didn't say anything. This old guy still hasn't given up. He still hasn't been intimidated by my power. What kind of conspiracy is he up to? However, Jiang Tian was not afraid. It could be said that he didn't care at all. In front of absolute strength, all schemes and tricks were nothing but trash. But on the 3rd day, Mao Bohu rushed in and said excitedly, "Perfected Immortal Jiang, the preaching ceremony is held in advance, and the location is on the Golden Lotus Mountain outside Maolin City. Special Envoy Luomei has sent a letter and asked Maolin City to be in charge of receiving the heroes and organizing this ceremony." "Good. I didn't expect to be able to start a massacre so soon." Jiang Tian stood up. Lightning shot out from his clear eyes. Flames circled around him, and his murderous intent was cold. Chapter 1098. Every 3 years, many sects and families in the Yunnan country would send their saintesses and saints to be selected by Fairy Luomei, the special envoy of the Chongqing sect. Fairy Luomei would also preach and teach people how to cultivate. In return, she would give people a chance to peek at the secret arts of the Chongqing sect. In addition, there were also young talents of the younger generation who would compete in the Tao preaching ceremony and show off their abilities. If they were favored by Fairy Luomei, they would be able to become a disciple of the Chongqing sect. Even if they couldn't enter the Chongqing sect, it was also a good thing to be recognized by the leaders of other sects and embark on the path to immortality. Therefore, every time the preaching ceremony was held, it would attract the attention of many forces in the Yunnan country and the northern region. Besides, the candidates for the selection of true disciples this time would be able to receive guidance from the Chongqing sect leader and many elders. It was even more popular than before. The competition for the position of true disciple is fierce. There are many talents in the Yunlong country in the past 3 years. Prince Mo Yang of the Yunlong country has already entered the first level of the Golden Core realm. The young master of the Beast Trainer sect, Shou Lei, has perfected the Foundation Establishment realm and has opened the Thousand Beast path. His strength is also earth-shattering and enviable. Feng Batian, the son of the city lord of the Windblade City, has reached the phenomenal success level of the Windblade City. He can already level a mountain with one attack. Yeah, the younger generation of Westland has been full of talents these years. Needless to say, the Longevity Sect, Tingyu Tower, Fire Worship Sect, and other peerless sects outside the northern region were also full of talents. And don't forget about the one from Mount Thunder. At this point, everyone became solemn. The Arhat. He was the future abbot of the Golden Rock Temple on Thunder Mountain, and the personal disciple of the Buddha. It was said that he was born with divine powers. His eyes could shoot out lightning and fire, and his body was indestructible. Even the Mammoth Zen master was shocked. Now he was only in his 30s and had already reached the perfected stage of Golden Core. His cultivation was peerlessly powerful, and he suppressed the entire West Earth. He was invincible among the younger generation, and people like Luo Ming and Yanlong had to kowtow to him. I heard that not only will Prince Mo Yang come, but many young people from other regions of Westland will also come to watch the ceremony. For example, Red Lotus from the Fire Worship sect in the west, Lung Jianfeng from the Sword Palace in the south, Wuxin from the Devil Rock Temple, and so on. Some people were agitated, their eyes filled with excitement. Regardless of whether it was Fairy Luo Mei's lecture or the competition between the top experts of the Cloud Mist Kingdom, they were both major events that attracted people's attention. For example, Hong Lian Lung Jianfeng and Wu Xian were all people who were on par with Crown Prince Mo Yang, or even slightly more powerful. They were not from the Cloud Mist Kingdom and would not participate in the competition, but they were invited. Firstly, listening to Fairy Luo Mei's lecture and observing the battle between top-notch experts had enlightened him greatly. Secondly, he wanted to see if he could help the sect behind him recruit some talents. After all, the Changshan sect would only accept one personal disciple this time. My West Earth world is filled with geniuses. I really don't dare to imagine how an ant from the Earth world would dare to be enemies with my West Earth. Someone suddenly remembered the rumor that Luo Ming and Elaine had perished on Earth. He couldn't help but snort coldly with arrogance in his eyes. When we gather our troops and attack Earth, won't Kong Teichu be scared shitless? But everyone paid the most attention to Fan Luomei, the special envoy of the Changshan sect in the north. It could be said that the news of Fan Luomei descending to the Golden Lotus platform outside Malan City to preach, select personal disciples, and receive the Holy Child and Holy Maiden had spread throughout the entire Cloudmist country, and even the entire northern region. For a moment, everyone was talking about it and looking forward to it. Within a few days, countless people heard the news and came. Especially the young cultivators. They were even more excited and wanted to see the supreme beauty of this fairy. Fan Luomei was not as simple as the special envoy of the Changshan sect in the north. She was also a mid-stage Golden Core realm cultivator with a peerless appearance. She was a top beauty in the West Earth world. When some cultivators saw her beautiful face, they all said that this girl should have been in the heavens and could only be seen a few times in the mortal world. There was even a famous senior monk who became interested in the mortal world after seeing her. He immediately returned to the secular world and joined the Changshan sect, becoming a servant who swept the floor just to have a chance to see her from afar. In this world, there were countless princesses of countries, daughters of city lords, and countless nobles who were proud of their looks, talents, and gifts. However, it was said that many women were overshadowed when they saw this girl. They felt ashamed of their inferiority and did not dare to compete with her in terms of beauty. However, this girl did not only have a peerless appearance and beauty, but also had a high status and a powerful cultivation. She also had a good foundation. It was said that she had a celestial bone, and her celestial bone was between her eyebrows. Her spiritual power was strong and her comprehension was amazing. This meant that no matter what cultivation method she practiced, She could simplify it and obtain the essence. Her cultivation could improve by leaps and bounds. Moreover, she was still in her first life. She was only in her 30s, but she had already reached the Golden Core realm. The Changshan sect was the best at the reincarnation method, so her lifespan was unknown. This also meant that if she reincarnated again, she could reach the late stage of the Golden Core realm, or even higher. Finally, she could transcend this world. I heard Fan Luomei's lecture 3 years ago in the eastern region's Yulan Kingdom. It was really beautiful. When I listened to it, I felt enlightened and forgot about the mundane world. After it ended, it still lingered in my mind for 3 days. A cultivator rushed toward Maolin City. He had traveled thousands of miles. When he thought of his previous experience of listening to the lecture, he was intoxicated. That's right. This is a rare opportunity. After listening to it, we will benefit a lot. It will be very beneficial for our cultivation. Let's go and listen to the lecture. A sect leader who was in seclusion heard Fan Luomei's lecture, and immediately ended his seclusion. He walked out and led his disciples over. Yes, Fan Luomei chose Maolin City because the foundation of her Fan family is there. Otherwise, she would definitely choose the capital of the Yunlan Kingdom. Maolin City was originally a small city. In the northern region and the entire West Earth, it was a small sect. There were not many cultivators and people there. However, since the news of the lecture spread, many powerhouses from the northern region's countries and cities flocked to the city. In order to maintain order in Maolin City, the Mao family turned out in full force. The Fan family and the Luo family also helped. Even Mao Billion was extremely busy. It could be said that her feet did not touch the ground. At this time, the only one who had nothing to do was Jiang Tian. He stayed in the depths of the Mao family and cultivated in seclusion. He did not care about the outside world at all. He was not nervous before the battle at all. In his spare time, he looked at the scenery in the back garden. It was not until the day before the lecture ceremony that Jiang Tian and the others, accompanied by Mao Hongdai, rushed to the Golden Lotus Mountain. In this operation, Jiang Tian disguised himself as Mao Hongdia's guard and pointed his sword at Fairy Luomei. He captured her alive and suppressed her. Then, she would lead and recommend them to the Changshan sect and kill the Changshan sect leader. In this way, they did not need to kill the foolish followers of the Changshan sect, and did not need to waste time. Mao Hongdai was wearing a veil Dharma artifact. When Jiang Tian asked, she said that she did not want to cause too much trouble. There were too many young talents this time. At this time, the lecture ceremony was watched by the entire northern region. Many powerhouses from other regions also came. Many cultivators gathered in Maolin City, but not everyone had the chance to climb the Golden Lotus platform. In fact, those who could climb the Golden Lotus platform had been carefully tested and selected. They could be said to be the elites of the families and sections. There were only 1,000 of them in total. Fairy Luomei is here. When Jiang Tian and the others walked out of the city lord's mansion, suddenly, a scream was heard. Then the entire Maolin City was in an uproar. The crowd was restless like a flood. Fairy Luomei is here. She's my goddess. For a moment, screams came one after another. Male and female cultivators were extremely excited. The male cultivators' eyes were burning with obsession, while the female cultivators were full of envy and worship. They hoped that one day, they could become another Fairy Luomei. An enormous jade carriage pulled by 6 enormous white phoenixes flew through the sky as it arrived, and the surroundings were covered in a riot of falling petals. The petals were sparkling and translucent like jade as they emitted a myriad of rays of light, and it was suffused with dense spirit energy, causing it to seem like a rainbow that hung in the sky. Wherever the carriage passed, it almost became a paradise. It was full of vitality. Rain fell from the sky, and withered trees grew new branches. Many people's illnesses disappeared and they grew black hair. Thank you for the rain, special envoy of the Changshan sect, for eliminating disasters. Countless people worshipped and were grateful. They were so excited that tears flowed down their faces. The Changshan sect has been blessed for hundreds of generations. We are grateful and will serve and believe in you for the rest of our lives. May the Changshan sect leader live a long life and enjoy immortal blessings forever and transcend the world. May the special envoy live a long life and improve your cultivation. Many elders were so excited that they cried and kowtowed so crazily that their heads were bleeding. Jiang Tian looked at them and a mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He shook his head. The Changshan sect was good at bewitching people. They had taken over many people's bodies to extend their lives, but they did it secretly. However, when they used their divine powers, they made a big fuss. A small favor was enough to make the people of the western region worship them as gods. Chapter 1099. Mao Hongdai also sighed when she saw this. That was the most difficult part of the Changshan sect to overthrow. They were too good at deceiving and fooling the people. Many people had been harmed by them, but they were still their loyal followers. Once anyone started a war against them, they would be drowned in the ocean. Perhaps, the simplest and most effective way was to cut off the head of the Changshan sect's hierarch, as Jiang Tian had planned. The driver was an old man. He was wearing a brown linen robe. His hair was gray, but his eyes were full of lightning. He was already at the middle stage of the Golden Core realm. It's the abbot of the Heavenly Dragon Temple, Master Kumu. Many people exclaimed when they saw him. But he is now a withered tree that has sprouted a new branch. He has returned to the secular world for Fairy Luomei. Yes, when Master Kumu first met Fairy Luomei, he fell in love with her at first sight. He immediately resigned from his position as the abbot of the Heavenly Dragon Temple, and gave up hundreds of years of hard work to return to the secular world. After cleaning the halls of the Changshan sect for 5 years, he finally became Fairy Luomei's coachman, and took care of her. Fairy Luomei is really powerful. She made a middle-stage Golden Core realm overlord her coachman. Many people recognized him and sighed. They were amazed by Master Kumu's infatuation, and shocked by Fan Luomei's charm and strength. The jade carriage was dazzling. Fan Luomei's figure was blurry, and could not be seen clearly. Only when the gauze cage was blown up by the wind could one catch a glimpse of it, and catch a glimpse of it. However, everyone could already feel Fairy Luomei's ethereal and otherworldly aura. She was peerless and unparalleled. They couldn't help but be intoxicated by her, and their minds were shaken. At this time, Fan Xiuju's family came out to welcome her. This team was led by Fan Xiuju's father. Everyone was very handsome. They had heavenly horses, winged tigers, flood horses, and other strange beasts under them. Fan Xiuju carried a silver spear on his back, and wore a silver armor. He looked very energetic and outstanding. Fan Wantao, the patriarch of the Fan family, and Fan Xiuju, the young master of the Fan family, welcomed the special envoy of the Changshan sect home. Regardless of whether it was him, his father, or even some of the older generation, when Fairy Luomei was still 10 miles away, they all knelt down and respectfully welcomed her. This was the rule. The Changshan sect was at least the #1 orthodoxy in the northern region. Many cities in the 4 countries were under its rule. Even the monarch of a country would have to treat the emissaries of the Changshan sect with great care. Fan Luomei's return was like an ancient emperor descending upon the mortal world. The etiquette couldn't be lacking. Immortal Master Jiang, Fan Luomei will go home first. She will arrive at the Golden Lotus stage soon. More people will go up there later, so the road will be crowded. Let's go first, Mao Hongdai said. All right. Jiang Tian withdrew his gaze and gladly agreed. Outside Maolin City, the mountain range was more than 10,000 feet tall, lofty and steep. Between the mountains, the Yong River flowed. From the middle of the mountain to the top, it was shrouded in clouds all day long. On the highest peak, there was an open platform. There were many strange peaks in the surroundings. When the sun shone on them, it was as if golden lotuses were blooming. That was why this place was named Golden Lotus Mountain. The entire mountain range was named after it. On the Golden Lotus stage, there were many palaces and buildings. They were ethereal, like a fairyland. When Jiang Tian and the others arrived at the Golden Lotus Mountain, they could already see many cultivators and talents at the foot of the mountain. Most of them were at the peak of qi refining. If these people were on Earth, they could be called masters and ancestors and ruled a country or a sect. But here, they didn't even have the chance to go up the mountain. Fairy Luomei will pass by here. If we can ask her to stop the carriage and ask her a few questions about cultivation, it will be a great blessing." They anxiously waited for Fairy Luome's arrival, as if they were the most loyal fans waiting for their idol to appear. Jiang Tian and the others were all wearing the staff badge of the scripture lecture ceremony. Mao Hongdai was one of the main hosts of the event. No one stopped them on the way, and they soon arrived at the Golden Lotus stage. The Golden Lotus stage was originally a blessed place with dense spiritual qi. Many nobles in Maolin City liked to cultivate and gather here. After a series of decorations, this place was even more beautiful and fascinating. Ancient trees towered into the sky, and great herbs bloomed brilliantly. Old vines coiled around the trees, and spirit herbs swayed gently. Strange flowers bloomed and emitted rich spiritual qi. In the pond, there was a dragon snake entrenched, an old turtle carrying a stone tablet swam, elk running in the forest, and red-crowned cranes soaring. Although Maolin City was only a small city, it still controlled an area with a radius of hundreds of miles. It still had some foundation. At this time, it was still early. Many talents who were qualified to listen to the scripture lecture ceremony had already arrived early, afraid that they would miss this rare opportunity. Some people came riding on auspicious beasts such as white phoenixes and griffins. Some came riding on ancient chariots passed down by their families. Some stepped on Dharma artifacts that spewed out divine rainbows. Everyone was the first to gain the upper hand and attract attention. Every figure represented the arrival of a foundation establishment cultivator. There were even golden core cultivators among them. Mao Bohu brought his daughter, Mao Bilian, and other members of the Mao family. They were very busy welcoming guests from all directions. For a time, the Golden Lotus platform was colorful and lively. It could be said that the talents who could reach this place had great backgrounds. Some were the sons of families, some were the descendants of the city lord, and some were the direct disciples of sects and successors of great sections. When Jiang Tian and the others arrived at the top of the mountain, many talents had already begun to gather in groups of 3 to 5. They were drinking, having fun, and chatting. Among these prodigies, the men were valiant and extraordinary while the women were captivating. They chatted and laughed as they dominated the world. They were like a beautiful scenery. This was not only a grand event for learning and improving, but also an opportunity for the upper-class powerhouses to make friends with powerhouses and obtain information. Windblade City is nearby. I wonder if Feng Batian, the son of the city lord, will come? One of the talents asked. When he mentioned this person, everyone's face changed wildly, and their eyes were filled with fear. A successor of a sect shook his head and said, "I hope he doesn't come. He is too domineering and always causes trouble. Yes, he is even more arrogant now. I heard that he has mastered the Furious Wind Thousand Blades technique and can kill gold core powerhouses." Another city lord shook his head and said, "Feng Batian, the son of the Windblade City's mayor, had a noble status and was an extraordinary existence. Not to mention, he had already stepped into the late stage of the foundation establishment realm and had mastered the family's secret technique. Most likely he didn't put the world's strongest in his eyes." Next to him, a successor of a great sect took a sip of divine wine and said with a calm face, "Don't worry. He won't dare to mess around. This time, Prince Mo Yang of Yunlan country will also come." When everyone heard this, they smiled but did not say anything. Only a girl who was quick to speak said in a low voice with a smirk, "Yes. I heard that last time, Feng Batian met Mo Yang's sister, Princess Yujiao, who was out to play in the Crystal Palace. He did not recognize her and teased her. When Mo Yang found out, he beat him up until he was looking for his teeth on the ground. Since then he has been avoiding Mo Yang. You want to die? Feng Batian will treat this as the greatest humiliation of his life. If he hears this, he will break your legs." Next to her, her female companion was so shocked that her face turned pale. She pulled her arm. Ah! The girl was so scared that her face turned pale. She quickly covered her mouth and looked around. Seeing that no one had noticed her, she was relieved. Yes, in our Yunlan country, and even more than half of the western region, Prince Mo Yang and beast-controlling sects Sholei are the most powerful. They can talk directly with the Arhut. Someone changed the topic to ease the girl's embarrassment. Where there were people, there was Jianghu. Even the younger generation of the Yunlong country was not harmonious. There were many things that made each other enmity and jealousy. Jiang Tian and the others found an inconspicuous corner to sit down and chat. Mao Hongdai accompanied them. Forget it, you go greet the guests. Jiang Tian drank by himself and said to Mao Hongdai. He was relaxed and did not strike up a conversation with others. I'll accompany you. Mao Hongdai poured wine for Jiang Tian. Her right hand that was holding the wine pot trembled slightly and spilled some wine. She was obviously nervous. This was unavoidable. This was clearly a hangmen banquet. Jiang Tian was going to attack Fan Luomei. Besides, Jiang Tian had just arrived and was unfamiliar with the place. She was also worried that someone would provoke Jiang Tian. Haha, silly girl, have you ever seen a lady pour wine for a guard? Don't worry, I can handle it. Jiang Tian laughed. Well then I'll go. Take care of yourself. The girl understood and smiled sweetly. She got up and left. Celestial Master Star Butcher, you are in a good mood. Jiang Tian had just drunk a few cups of wine. Someone immediately poured another cup for him. It was Fan Xiuzhu, who came with a bright smile. Jiang Tian laughed and said, Did you get any benefits from your aunt? Why are you so happy? Haha, I have a chance to enter the longevity sect as an inner sect disciple. Although I'm not a true disciple, it's not bad. After this scripture lecture conference, Aunt will bring me over. Fan Xiuzhu was overjoyed. Then he patted his chest and said, Big brother, no matter what, you saved me back then. If you have any trouble in the future, come to me for help. No one will dare to mess with you. That's right. The Yanhuang tribe is always bullied here. Jiang Tian smiled. But what do you want from helping me? Fan Xiuzhu was stunned for a moment, then frowned and said, Brother, when did I lack money? You saved me before. You're treating me like an outsider. I'll punish you with a cup of wine. Jiang Tian smiled and sipped his cup. If this were Earth, stellar sky, and heavenly kingdom, even the ruler of a country who dared to punish Jiang Tian with a cup of wine, Jiang Tian would not let him off. But although Fan Xiuzhu had many faults, there was still a trace of sincerity left in his heart. Jiang Tian thought to himself. For Fan Xiuzhu's sake, he would not seriously injure Fan Luomei and give her a chance to live. Brother Xingtu, from what I know, the Zongzi of the Beast Trainer sect, Shoulei, is already here. And he's accompanied by 6 experts. You have to be careful. Fan Xiuzhu whispered in his ear, sending a message. Beast Trainer sect? What has that got to do with me? Jiang Tian smiled in a carefree manner, but a cold light faintly appeared in his eyes. Chapter 1100. Sai, although you keep a low profile, you can't hide it from me. Fan Xiuzhu squinted his eyes and smirked. The Beast Trainer sect went to the Mao family to denounce them, but you killed them. He patted his chest and said confidently, But don't worry. I'm also involved in killing Wugong. If that expert from the beast-controlling sect dares to cause trouble for you, just call me. Now that he had his aunt as his backer, he was full of confidence and did not care about anything. Jiang Tian nodded slightly and thanked him. But it's not a good thing that you helped Red Butterfly restore her appearance. Fan Xiuzhu suddenly sighed. She didn't want to be the saintess. In fact, I also begged my aunt, but Mao Hongdai was wanted by the Changshan sect. She had to be taken away. Jiang Tian said leisurely. If Red Butterfly's bone structure is changed, can she be a disciple instead of a saintess? The disciples of the Changshan sect would receive many resources and reincarnation methods to extend their lifespan. But the saintess and the saintess were only artificial bodies. Although they both joined the Changshan sect, their destinies were completely different, and their statuses were also very different. Senior, you helped Red Butterfly change her body? Fan Xiuzhu could not believe it. He quickly filled Jiang Tian's cup with wine. Yes, Jiang Tian nodded slightly. Senior, you have the ability to change a cultivator's bone structure. Fan Xiuzhu was shocked. Then he slapped his thigh and said, Then there's still a chance. After the lecture, I'll take you to see my aunt. Jiang Tian nodded and thanked him. This was exactly what he wanted. To defeat Fan Luomei, First capture the leader, then kill the Changshan sect, and quietly change the world. Fan Xiuzhu said worriedly. You have to be careful. When the time comes, you have to be careful. My aunt has a very high status. She'll kill anyone who disagrees with her. If you offend her, no one can afford to be punished. Yes, I know. Jiang Tian smiled and nodded. Fan Xiuzhu was originally a noble of Maolin City, and he was in charge of the reception this time. He had a lot of friends and he was quickly pulled away for a chat. Fellow Taoist Grand Primordium, is this reliable? There were so many experts, and there were even Golden Core experts. Why don't we return to Earth? Li Wuji had no confidence. His face was full of panic as he trembled. He was the sect master of the Kunlun sect, a peerless sect. His status was extremely respected. Before the rise of Jiang Tian, only a few people in the entire Earth world, such as Messiah and Kasayapa Guru, could be counted on one's fingers. But when he came to West Earth, he realized that he was just a frog in a well. There were too many experts here. Qi refinement cultivators were as numerous as dogs, Foundation establishment cultivators were everywhere, and Golden Core cultivators were not few either. Return to Earth. Jiang Tian ate a grape and smiled. Dao friend Wuji, since we're already here, how can we return without any results? You have a Coalian who can kill a Gold Core cultivator. Li Wuji whispered anxiously. As long as your Coalian is up and facing the death hill, they won't be able to come no matter what. Dao friend Wuji, you're mistaken. There are countless cultivation arts for the cultivation world to go to another world. Jiang Tian smiled wryly and said, they can open up other portals or use other secret arts to teleport to our world without anyone knowing. Interdimensional wars, interstellar wars, Jiang Tian had experienced too many of them in his previous life. He had also seen too many strange and bizarre teleportation techniques. After hearing what he said, Li Wuji, Lady Wu and Yi Karen were shocked. Jiang Tian said it simply, but it was actually extremely terrifying. If the overlords of West Earth could teleport to Earth randomly, they wouldn't need a lot of people, just a few Golden Core overlords, to conquer Earth and enslave all of humanity. The only thing we can do now is to take the initiative to attack. Jiang Tian's expression was calm. He took a sip of immortal wine and said unhurriedly, before West Earth is fully prepared and reaches a consensus, we'll kill all the overlords who want to conquer Earth. We can even suppress the entire West Earth. Li Wuji's heart skipped a beat when he heard that. Then he let out a breath and reminded Li Wuji in a low voice. Okay. However, we'd better be careful. There are too many overlords here. They're too scary. The martial demon Yang and Yi Karen were also moved, and their breathing quickened. The overlords of this world were too powerful. The heavenly state and the stellar sky sector must be the same. They really didn't know how Kong Techu conquered them. It was really admirable. Only Tang Linglong was proud. On Earth, Li Wuji was also a powerful and famous figure. But at this time, the gap between him and his master was obvious. Feng Batian is here, someone in the crowd said. Instantly, the crowd was in an uproar. Everyone's expression changed drastically, and they stood up. When Feng Batian walked into the ceremony, many people stood up to welcome him respectfully. No matter if it was his background as the son of the Windblade City's city lord, his powerful strength, or his arrogant and overbearing style, no one dared to offend him. Even if they didn't like him, they didn't dare to show it. Haha, Sister Billion is so radiant today. I fell in love with you at first sight. Feng Batian was personally accompanied by Mao Billion. The standard was not low, and he praised this woman's beauty and ease. Brother Batian, you flatter me. Mao Billion said softly. Her face was slightly red and she looked radiant. Her full chest was proudly puffed out. She was overjoyed to be able to get the approval of the son of a giant city. The key was that the Windblade City's city lord had already proposed marriage to her. In the future, the two of them might get married. Then her status would rise, and their Maolin city would have great benefits. Feng Batian was proud of his success. He puffed out his chest and folded his stomach, and arrogantly walked to the front row. He sat down casually, raised his wine cup, and toasted everyone like a high and mighty leader. Who dared to neglect the toast of the son of a giant city? Who dared not to drink? Everyone stood up and downed their drinks in one gulp. Then, quite a few people returned the favor with flattery and flattery. Even the daughters of famous families were madly throwing flirtatious glances at him, hoping that he would remember them and be favored. It would be good to be his concubine. Haha, welcome to my Windblade city. As long as you come, you are giving me face. I will treat you warmly. Fongbatien drank the wine in his cup in one gulp and laughed heartily, feeling very happy. Suddenly, he saw that Jiang Tian was still sitting in the crowd. He did not drink, and his butt did not move. Fongbation's face sank and he sneered. Today Fairy Luo Mei is lecturing. Those who can come here are all well-known figures of their generation, dragons and phoenixes among men. There are probably some nameless juniors who snuck in here to fish in troubled waters. He stared at Jiang Tian, and his face was very unfriendly. When Jiang Tian came in, he was very low-key. Mao Hongdai stayed with him for a while, and then went out to greet the guests and deal with the affairs. So not many people noticed him. At this time, when they saw Fongbatien making trouble for Jiang Tian, they noticed. Fongbatien is probably going to show his power. This kid is dead. In a second, the cultivators on the 5 or 6 tables around Jiang Tian left in the blink of an eye. Everyone quickly retreated 100 meters away, drawing a clear line with Jiang Tian, for fear of being implicated. Don't you know that Fongbatien is the most overbearing and prideful person? You actually humiliated him in public. Aren't you looking for trouble? Where did this person come from? A nameless junior dares to challenge Fongbatien. Does he have a death wish? Some people shook their heads lightly, gloating. Some sighed regretfully, worried for Jiang Tian, and some looked at Jiang Tian curiously. At this time Maubilian said softly, Big Brother Batien, don't be angry. This person is the new guard of the Mao family. Guard? I think his cultivation level is very low. No, he has no cultivation at all. Could he be lying to my uncle Mao? Since Fongbatien wanted to find trouble with Jiang Tian, did he need a reason? Did he need a reason? He would just step on him directly. He walked with majestic steps towards Jiang Tian and sneered. And look at his appearance. Yellow skin, black eyes, and a face like a wild mountain monkey. He seems to be from the Yanhuang tribe. The Yanhuang tribe is just a lowly ant. They have no orthodoxy, no strength. How can he be an expert? I think, why don't I test him? Otherwise, Uncle Mao will be deceived by this scoundrel. Chapter 1101. Maubilian had never liked Jiang Tian. This was because Jiang Tian had regained his elder sister's looks, which made her pale in comparison. She naturally wanted to see Jiang Tian suffer, and did not stop him. She laughed coquettishly and said, Then Big Brother Batien, you have to show mercy. What if he's a fake? Wouldn't you be able to kill him with one finger? Originally, when they heard that Jiang Tian was a consecrator of the Mao family, it was not appropriate for them to speak up. But seeing that Maubilian was not protecting Jiang Tian, and was even egging him on, they could not help but mock him. Yeah, the Yanhuang tribe are all weaklings like sick men. How can there be any experts? He must be a swindler. A Yanhuang peasant, a guard, and a servant. Instead of serving us properly, you are drinking and having fun here. You want to take advantage of the chaos to listen to the scripture. That's right. We are all talents and talents. We have gone through many tests and were appointed by the special envoy to listen to the scripture. You are just a servant, and you want to sneak in? Get out of here. Everyone immediately engaged in a battle of words, each word aimed at Jiang Tian. This star butcher is not only of low birth, but he doesn't seem to know how to conduct himself. He made Maubilian dislike him so much. In the crowd, Luo Qijiao, who had been rescued by Jiang Tian previously, had a mocking smile on her cute face. Just let him listen. Can he understand the mysteries of the great Tao? Isn't he afraid of embarrassing himself here? Fongbatien came closer and closer. His eyes were disdainful, his posture arrogant, and his words arrogant. Big Brother Batien, even if you don't understand, you can pretend that you do. Maubilian's bracelets jingled as she walked over gracefully. Her face was adorable and innocent. Her smile was like a flower as she said in a coquettish voice, "He only needs to close his eyes and sit down. Even if he dozes off, others will think that he is in the domain of the heavens and earth." When she said this, everyone burst into laughter. Many female cultivators like Luo Qi, young ladies of famous clans, and daughters of nobles didn't dare to laugh out loud like the men, and they only covered their delicate lips with their jade hands as they chuckled lightly. However, they still laughed until their bodies trembled, and the milky white waves before their chests rose and fell. "A guard doesn't deserve to be here. He doesn't deserve to be with us. Young City Lord Batian, throw him under the golden lotus." Someone fanned the flames. At this time, Feng Batian had already arrived in front of Jiang Tian. Li Wuji tugged at Jiang Tian's arm and stammered, "Young City Lord Feng, fellow Taoist Xing Tu can't hold his liquor. This old man will punish himself by drinking 3 cups on his behalf. Please, get lost. I want him to drink it." Wind Tyrant's true essence erupted and pushed Li Wuji to the side. He became even more arrogant and despotic as he pointed at Jiang Tian and shouted, "Feng Batian, you haven't even reached the Golden Core realm. You're just a piece of trash. How dare you make me drink as punishment?" Jiang Tian narrowed his eyes and lowered his head to take a sip of wine. He smiled and said, "In fact, it's not shameful to be a piece of trash. However, it's too shameful for you to deliberately show off your abilities. Have you been bullied by Prince Mo Yang and the others? Is that why you're here to feel superior? But you've got the wrong person. You're no match for me. You'd better go back to your Windblade City and play with mud. Also, your eyesight is very bad. Don't treat the shit in the latrine as mud. You're going to stink." Everyone was dumbfounded and couldn't believe it. Jiang Tian dared to insult him and call him a piece of trash. Wasn't he courting death? In terms of strength, Jiang Tian was no match for Feng Batian at all. Feng Batian was at the late stage of the Foundation establishment realm. In terms of status, Feng Batian's father was the son of a big city. You were just a guard. Even your master, Mao Bohu, had to treat you with respect. Suddenly, Feng Batian's face turned red. In fact, among his peers he was at the bottom. He was almost pushed to the second tier because Mo Yang and the others had already reached the Golden Core realm. Moreover, he had indeed been trampled on by Prince Mo Yang. He was ashamed of it and didn't allow anyone to mention it. What did you say?" At this time, Jiang Tian had exposed his scar. Feng Batian was fuming with anger. He was about to vomit blood and was about to explode. "You can't even speak a sentence. You're obviously an idiot. How dare you pretend to be an expert here? I've never seen such a shameless person." Jiang Tian's face was full of sarcasm. He continued to sip his wine and said lazily, "You're a reckless little bastard." Feng Batian was furious. He threw a punch at Jiang Tian. "Today I'll kill you. I'm sure Governor Mao will only thank me. Get lost." Jiang Tian didn't even bat an eyelid. He just waved his sleeve gently. With a wave of his sleeve, the divine body of Gung metal was activated. The surging true essence was like waves crashing on the shore. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The power of his sleeve was more than 10,000 pounds heavy. It was like a flying mountain that pressed down on the earth. The terrifying power was boundless and unstoppable. Block. Suddenly, Feng Batian's face changed drastically. He shouted and threw out a shield. Wind and thunder lingered around it. He was full of confidence to block Jiang Tian. Boom. The 7th metal true essence bombarded the shield like a wave. Kacha kacha. The spirit treasure level wind and thunder shield cracked and collapsed. Thump thump thump. Feng Batian kept stepping back. Deep pits were formed on the ground. He retreated 100 meters before he could stand still. Poof. He spat out blood and staggered. He was about to fall. His eyes were full of fear. Suddenly, the entire platform was silent, dead silent. Everyone's heart trembled violently. They were dumbfounded and couldn't believe what they were seeing. Jiang Tian waved his sleeve casually and broke the wind and thunder shield. He made Feng Batian spit out blood. His strength had probably broken through to the late Foundation establishment realm. Unbelievable. When did the Yanhuang tribe break through to the Foundation establishment realm and become an immortal master? It's rare. This is clearly the strength of the great circle of foundation establishment realm. The Mao family is lucky. They actually found such an expert to be their consecrator. Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. The disdain and mockery on their faces disappeared. They didn't dare to underestimate Jiang Tian anymore. Star Butcher, you are so bold. A small guard dares to attack my family's guest. Mao Billion was shocked. She pointed at Jiang Tian and shouted, "Presumptuous! If it weren't for your father, I would have killed you already." Jiang Tian's eyes were cold. This girl trembled in fear. "Bastard, you don't know who you have offended." Fombatien couldn't accept it. His face was extremely ugly. He roared and rushed towards Jiang Tian. "Fombatien, stop." At this time, Mao Hongdai heard the news and rushed over. She shouted, "I will be hosting today's lecture. I don't want any trouble. Today, I welcome everyone to my Maolin city as guests. However, Senior Star Butcher is a member of the Mao family. If you attack him, where is the Mao family? If you disrupt the event, where is the Chongqing sect?" Hearing these words, Fombatien forced himself to calm down. Naturally, he wasn't afraid of Maolin city. However, he was afraid of the Chongqing sect. Disrupting the order of the scripture lecture ceremony was no small matter. Even the Yunlan kingdom couldn't bear the consequences, let alone him. "Fine. Today, I will give your sister face and not bicker with you." He forced a laugh and then stared coldly at Jiang Tian. "This matter is not over. Kid, you wait." Then he turned and returned to his seat. Jiang Tian didn't bother to look at him again. He drank alone. Beside him, Tang Linglong poured wine for him. She didn't take this kind of person seriously at all. Her master's strength was enough to dominate this subworld. Mao Billion looked deeply at Jiang Tian and whispered to herself, "This person's strength is unfathomable. However, he is not qualified to challenge Windblade City. Windblade City is a big city. It is not easy to provoke it. Even our Maolin city doesn't want to provoke it." Her mutterings were naturally reasonable. Windblade City was indeed very powerful and couldn't be provoked. However, she didn't know that Jiang Tian didn't care about Windblade City, the Yunlan kingdom, or the Chongqing sect. Mao Hongdai turned to look at her sister and said coldly, "How can you be so insensible? What's wrong? He is just a guard. He depends on our family." Mao Billion was puzzled. Mao Hongdai snorted in her heart. If it weren't for him, the Mao family would have been smashed to pieces by the beast-controlling sect. However, she didn't say it out loud. Instead, she frowned and reprimanded. "Even if he is just a guard, he is still a member of the Mao family. Don't forget that the blood of the Mao family flows in your veins. You haven't married Fombatien yet, and you have already lost your mind." "Sister, you are right. I understand." Mao Billion was ashamed and lowered her head. However, in his heart, he was both embarrassed and angry. His jealousy and hatred toward Jiang Tian became even stronger. Chapter 1102. The small interlude passed just like that. The atmosphere quickly returned to normal. Everyone was talking and laughing again. At the same time, as the time for the lecture approached, more and more talents arrived. When night fell, the place was bustling with guests. At this moment, a savage beast's thunderous roar reverberated through the sky, causing everyone to raise their heads in shock. Fairy Luo Mei is giving a lecture. You have to walk 20 miles from the foot of the mountain. Flying artifacts are not allowed. Who dares to cross that distance? Many people were secretly surprised. They looked up at the sky in shock. A powerhouse smiled bitterly and shook his head. Haha, looking at the situation, it can only be Sholei. He's riding a 6-winged lion dragon. At this time they could see clearly. It was indeed a lion dragon about 300 meters long. Its wings were like huge clouds. When it flapped, the wind whistled, sand and stones flew, and the smell of blood filled the air. Everyone squinted their eyes and felt suffocated. Boom, boom. A figure jumped down from the sky like a cheetah and landed on the ground. The 6-winged lion dragon flew away on its own. Sholei came with a powerful momentum. He had a leopard head, round eyes, and a beard. His long, dry hair draped over his shoulders and back. It was braided into many thin braids, and there were some gray or copper metal beads on them. His thick arms and chest were full of beast-shaped tattoos. They were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. His hair, beard, and eyebrows were all dyed dark brown. His skin was tanned, and there was a strange necklace hanging on his chest. At first glance, he looked like a primitive barbarian. Shoulei's aura was extremely powerful and domineering. His aura was 10 times stronger than Feng Baixian's. As soon as he landed, a terrifying beast-like aura swept across the place like a tide. Along the way, he was like a lion patrolling its territory. His pair of cold golden tiger eyes swept here and there. Anyone who was glanced at by him felt as if they were being stared at by a primitive giant beast. They felt very uneasy and uncomfortable. Seeing Shoulei's arrival, Mao Hongdai also felt uneasy. Shoulei. That was the Zongzi of the beast trainer sect. More importantly, his expression was unfriendly, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. It was very likely that he was here to denounce them. Although Mao Hongdai was hostile to him, as the host, she could not lose her manners. She still welcomed him personally. Red Butterfly greets Brother Thunder Beast. Greetings, Thunder Beast Zongzi. At this moment, all the geniuses present stood up to greet him. They bowed respectfully with fear in their eyes. Even Feng Baixian's face was filled with joy as he respectfully called Big Brother Shoulei. The Imperial Beast sect could be said to be the strongest inheritance in the Yunnan country. They reared demonic beasts and had thousands of soldiers and horses. They could even wrestle with the royal family of the Yunnan country. Even if the prince or the city lord met him, they would have to treat him as an equal, and would not dare to be too arrogant. Miss Red Butterfly, a few elders from my clan visited your house a few days ago. Thank you for your hospitality. Shoulei stared straight at Mao Hongdai. His eyes were cold and ferocious, like a ferocious beast that had just been released from its cage. The corners of his mouth curled up, giving off a sinister and terrifying feeling. Please forgive me for my lack of hospitality. Although Mao Hongdai was frightened in her heart, she maintained her composure on the surface without losing her composure. It's over. If he really comes, he won't kill me, right? But Luo Qi, who was in the crowd, was so scared that her legs were weak, and her cute little face was pale. Did you offend him? Feng Batian frowned as he looked at Mao Bilian beside him and asked softly. This has nothing to do with my clan. It was Master Celestial Xing Tu who acted on his own accord. Mao Bilian looked troubled, but in the end, she gritted her teeth and betrayed Jiang Tian. That's easy to handle. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. I will help you mediate this matter. When the time comes, just kill Master Celestial Xing Tuesday. Your clan will not be implicated. Feng Batian sneered and sat down beside Shoulei. He proposed a toast, and then whispered a few words into Shoulei's ear. Luo Qi also walked over and bowed repeatedly to apologize. Her face was pale, and it was obvious that she was frightened by this person. Is this the piece of trash? As Shoulei listened, he suddenly turned his head and stared at Jiang Tian. His eyes emitted a sharp, cold light as he laughed coldly. Obviously he was up to no good. This is troublesome. I've been exposed. Shoulei and Feng Batian seem to be plotting against you. Seeing this, Li Wuji's expression changed drastically, and he was terrified. Shoulei has just entered the Jindan realm, and he hasn't even perfected the first level. What's there to be afraid of? It's fine if he swallows his anger, but if he dares to do anything, I'll break his bones. Jiang Tian's expression was calm as he slowly drank his wine, causing Li Wuji to sigh anxiously at the side and scratch his head in frustration. As he spoke, Shoulei had already stood up. Under the fearful gaze of the crowd, he walked up to Jiang Tian and said coldly, I heard that Master Celestial Xing Tu killed someone from my beast trainer sect? What? Originally, everyone's eyes were fixed on Shoulei's every move. When they saw him questioning Jiang Tian, they were stunned. This guy is really a troublemaker. Not only did he offend Feng Batian, he even dared to kill someone from the beast trainer sect. He must be tired of living. Yeah. Although the beast trainer sect is not as powerful as the Chongqing sect, it is also a great sect in the Cloud Mist Nation. They are famous in the northern region. How can a Yan Huang tribesman offend them? This time, I'm afraid even Mao Bohu can't protect him. Protect my ass. If Mao Bohu offends the beast trainer sect, he can't even protect himself. It's completely over. I don't think so. Rumor has it that Mao Hongdai has recovered her looks and will become a saintess. If she joins the Chongqing sect, the beast trainer sect won't dare to mess around. No. This Master Celestial Xing too will not be able to survive. Mao Bohu will not offend the beast trainer sect for him. The beast trainer sect can control all kinds of poisonous insects and monsters. If they ambush you, you won't even know how you died. Mao Bohu is also afraid. Facing Shoulei's pressure, Jiang Tian's expression was calm and at ease. He chuckled and said, "Just a few ants. So what if I killed them? What do you want? How dare you? How dare you? You dare to admit it? Do you know that I can kill you with one hand?" Shoulei was so angry that he laughed. His eyes turned red, and the bloodthirsty aura of a primordial beast suppressed him. He could attack at any time. Seeing this, everyone felt suffocated and nervous. Mao Bilian and Luo Qi had gloating smiles on their faces again. Even if Jiang Tian could defeat Feng Batian, he was no match for Shoulei. After all, Shoulei had stepped into the Golden Core realm. Even if he had not reached the peak of the first level of the Golden Core realm, it was enough to crush Jiang Tian. The difference between Jiang Tian and Shoulei was like heaven and earth. One was in the sky, and the other was on the ground. The gap was too big. However, at this moment, another exclamation was heard. Crown Prince Mo Yang is here. Everyone's expression changed as they looked at the sky. In the distance, with a swoosh, a palace filled with red light slowly flew over. The palace was in the clouds, surrounded by auspicious lights. Clouds and mist lingered around it, making it look like the palace of an immortal. Looking from afar, one could see a few maids in palace attire. Some of them were leaning against the railings and pointing. Some of them were chasing and playing in the palace. Some of them were pouring tea, and some were fanning Crown Prince Mo Yang. Their appearances were enough to topple cities. Their figures were graceful, and their curves were exquisite. They were like hibiscus after the rain. They were so beautiful that they could steal one's soul. Crown Prince Mo Yang was quite handsome and confident. He wore a golden crown on his head and a yellow robe on his body. He was resting his head on the snow-white thighs of a young girl on a soft mat. His posture was lazy and casual. He was sipping tea in his mouth and listening to the prettiest female servant reading a book. It was really a beautiful night of reading and indulging in a life of luxury. This palace is made entirely of red copper essence. You must know that a single piece of red copper essence is enough for a family of 3 to live for 10 years. Crown Prince Mo Yang's wealth is really amazing. 1 kilogram of red copper essence can be used to forge a top-grade treasure. He used it to build a palace. It's too extravagant. He must be drinking enlightenment tea. I heard that only one of these tea leaves can be found in the ancient tea water. Only 1 kilogram is produced in a year. Even the experts of the Chongqing sect can't afford to drink it. Drinking it is like pouring wisdom into one's head, and can strengthen one's mind. Alas, he is originally very talented. Moreover, he has many resources from the cities and famous mountains of the Yunnan country. It's not strange that he can step into the Gold Core realm at the age of 20. Everyone looked at the palace with envy and jealousy. They were discussing spiritedly. Even Shoulei and Feng Batian looked envious. In addition, there were several experts in black robes in front of and behind Crown Prince Mo Yang's palace. Their faces were covered with black cloth, and their auras were mysterious. Judging from their auras, each of them could suppress Shoulei. They were already experts in the early stage of the Gold Core realm. They seemed to be the guards of Crown Prince Mo Yang. They might be experts from the House of Extraordinary Warriors. Seeing that, someone's pupils shrank as he guessed in a low voice. Experts from the House of Extraordinary Warriors. That is an organization supported by the entire Yunnan country. Crown Prince Mo Yang is here for a big purpose. He is determined to be the only successor of the House of Extraordinary Warriors. A successor of a large sect exclaimed. Chapter 1103. Prince Mo Yang. He's so handsome. He seems to be choosing a crown princess recently. When Mao Bilian and the other female cultivators saw Prince Mo Yang, their eyes were filled with admiration and admiration. If only I could be his female servant. Luo Qi's face was filled with yearning as she murmured with infatuation. He reached the Golden Core realm at 20 years old. He's so powerful. If I had such strength, I would be able to do whatever I want. How could we reach such strength? He's not only talented, but he also has the support of a country's cultivation resources. Some of the male cultivators looked serious as they felt the great pressure. Some were envious and wished they could replace him. Some were dejected and did not dare to compete with him. But no matter what, no one could ignore Prince Mo Yang. Prince Mo Yang was the most powerful cultivator among the younger generation of the Yunlan nation. You're all here. As they approached the palace, Prince Mo Yang stood up lazily and walked out of the palace with his hands behind his back. He was handsome and unrestrained, but his eyes were arrogant. A sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. I'm glad you're here to listen. But do you really want to compete with me for the only position of the inner core disciple of the Chongqing sect? His cultivation was powerful and domineering. A royal aura was emitted from his body and his arrogant words were heard by everyone. I'm here. You'd better give up on that thought. You're too weak to withstand a single blow. These words were truly arrogant and despotic to the extreme. Obviously, he was determined to win the competition today, and he didn't take all the geniuses in the world seriously at all. We don't dare to compete with Prince Mo Yang. Greetings, Prince Mo Yang. We're here to admire the prince's peerless beauty. But no one dared to refute him. The sons of the big cities, the sons of the main family, and even the successors of the big sects bowed and cupped their fists. They looked fearful to show their highest respect. Humph! Only Shoulei snorted. Anger flashed in his eyes as if he was not willing to be suppressed by Prince Mo Yang. Shoulei, what are you snorting about? You don't want to admit defeat? Prince Mo Yang's face darkened and his eyes turned cold. A powerful aura was emitted. Rumble. Shoulei was forced back 5 to 6 steps before he could stabilize himself. Shocked, he quickly cupped his fists and said, "This commoner doesn't dare." Humph, with this crown prince here, you don't have the qualifications to act rashly. Mo Yang's eyes were filled with disdain as he looked at Shoulei like he was looking at an ant. Crown Prince Mo Yang's entrance was a huge matter. Everyone was alarmed. Malan City Lord Maobohu welcomes Crown Prince Mo Yang. Maobohu came over after hearing the news. He led the important members of the city, the family elders, and his 2 daughters to welcome them. His attitude was very humble and respectful. At this time, Crown Prince Mo Yang's younger sister, Princess Yu Jiao, also walked out from the palace and arrived at the scene. This girl had snow-white skin, a pair of watery eyes, a fine nose, bright red lips, a tall chest, and a slender waist. She was very troublesome, but there was a bit of baby fat on her face, which made her look even more charming and adorable. When Crown Prince Mo Yang took his seat, many young prodigies and geniuses came to greet him respectfully. Even Feng Batian had a fawning look on his face as he tried his best to flatter and curry favor with Princess Yu Jiao. Crown Prince Mo Yang replied lazily, talking and laughing freely. His witty words were like pearls. Suddenly he looked at Shoulei and asked coldly, "Shoulei, were you bullying people just now? You need to change your tyrannical character. Otherwise, I'll lead an army to annihilate your beast-controlling sect." Anger flashed in the depths of Shoulei's eyes, and then he forced a smile and said, "You flatter me." This commoner only saw a few young girls beside Immortal Master Star Butcher. They are good-looking and have good cultivation base. They seem to be good candidates to be maidservants. I will help Crown Prince Mo Yang ask. As soon as he said that, everyone's expression changed drastically. Although Crown Prince Mo Yang was very talented, he didn't like to cultivate. He liked to hang out with girls in the inner room. He had a strange hobby, which was to collect maidservants. He was the world's #1 flirt, unparalleled since ancient times. Moreover, he liked to defeat those female cultivators with extraordinary backgrounds and powerful cultivation bases. He wanted to subdue and conquer them completely. This time, if he targeted the girls beside Jiang Tian, Then Jiang Tian would have to endure the humiliation and give them up obediently. Otherwise, he would be beaten up badly by the other party. Either way, it would be unavoidable. Mao Hongdai was even more nervous. She gritted her teeth and secretly cursed Shou Lei for being insidious and shameless. Shou Lei's words were clearly to divert the trouble away from him. He wanted Crown Prince Mo Yang to target the 3 female companions of Jiang Tian. Mao Bilian's face was also filled with worry, and her delicate body trembled. Now, under her mediation, Feng Batian and Shou Lei only targeted Jiang Tian, and wouldn't do anything to the Mao family. However, if Crown Prince Mo Yang wanted to cause trouble, he might even destroy the Mao family. Really? Crown Prince Mo Yang's greedy eyes swept over Yi Karen, Tang Linglong, and Lady Wu who were beside Jiang Tian. His clear eyes gradually became infatuated. He murmured, "There are such beautiful girls in the world. Why do I feel like I have seen them before?" Is this the legendary feeling of old friends at first sight, and falling in love when you see them again? Among the 3 girls beside Jiang Tian, Yi Karen was full of heroic spirit, Tang Linglong was full of murderous intent, and Lady Wu was charming and seductive. They were even more beautiful than the maids he had collected. As for Jiang Tian, he completely ignored him. "Brother, don't make a fool of yourself outside." Princess Yu Jiao frowned and said in a low voice. "What do you mean by making a fool of myself?" Crown Prince Mo Yang glared at his sister, and then said with a smile, "I just want to discuss the great Tao of heaven and earth with my 3 lovely sisters. I want to discuss the mysteries of the Tao of heaven and earth. I want to verify with each other, and improve together." As Crown Prince Mo Yang spoke, he had already stood up and walked to Jiang Tian's table. He said with a smile, "May I know the names of my 3 sisters and where are you from? You are so beautiful. You must be a fairy from the heavens, right?" Yi Karen was too lazy to answer him. Her face was cold. Tang Linglong snorted and lowered her head to drink her tea. She did not care about him at all. Even if he was a prince of a country, even if he was a Jindan expert, how could he be compared to his master who had dominated the 3 realms and killed a nascent soul cultivator? Only Lady Wu shook her head and smiled. "We are not from the heavens. We are from the earth." "Haha, little sister, you are so interesting. The 3 of you seem to be from the Yan Huang tribe." Crown Prince Mo Yang laughed and asked, "Yes, so what?" Lady Wu raised her eyebrows and said seductively, "Little sister, you don't know. Recently, the entire western region has been hunting down the Yan Huang tribe. There have been countless casualties and many families have been wiped out." Seeing this, Crown Prince Mo Yang was so happy that his soul almost flew away. He felt that if he could have such beautiful maids by his side, it would be worth it even if he had to give up 3 years of his life. He waved his folding fan and invited them politely. "Why don't you stay by my side? I can definitely protect you. Moreover, I can give you unparalleled cultivation techniques and cultivation resources. Get lost. You are so annoying. Don't think of yourself as a playboy, you idiot." Sensing the other party's invasive gaze, Tang Linglong's face turned cold. She slammed the table and said coldly, What did you say?" Crown Prince Mo Yang was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe it. He was so embarrassed that his face turned red and he felt defeated. He had a noble status and a strong cultivation level. He had countless wealth and treasures. Usually, he would be successful in recruiting maids. Usually, as long as he revealed his identity, the other party would take the initiative to follow him. Those who were more arrogant would be defeated by his strong cultivation level. After some flirting, they would become his women. However, he didn't expect to hit a wall today. However, although Crown Prince Mo Yang was promiscuous, he respected women very much. However, he didn't bully others or scold Tang Linglong, let alone attack her. He even had a desire to conquer her. This girl is so unyielding. However, I, Crown Prince Mo Yang, like to ride the fiercest wild horse. Kiki, I will definitely have you. Well, they are either Star Butcher's disciples or maids. Perhaps they have already fallen in love with me. They are just afraid of Master Star Butcher's control. As he was thinking, his gaze finally fell on Jiang Tian. He laughed and cupped his fists. Master Star Butcher, I have a little hobby. I like to collect beautiful mates. I like your 3 mates. How about you give them to me? He puffed out his chest and patted it arrogantly. As long as you give them to me, I will not treat you badly. I will report to my father and let you enter the Yunlong country's outstanding scholar mansion. Chapter 1104. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone looked at Jiang Tian with envy. The Extraordinary Warriors Residence was an official organization of experts in the Yunlong nation. It was supported by the entire nation and had countless cultivation techniques, secret manuals, great medicines, spiritual stones, magical weapons, and other cultivation resources. After hundreds of years of development, the Extraordinary Warriors Residence had more than 10 Jindan experts. Each of them had an extraordinary background. Once he joined them and received their guidance, he would be greatly enlightened. It would be of great benefit to his own cultivation and improvement. Moreover, Crown Prince Mo Yang was an expert in the Yunlong nation. He was even famous in the entire northern region. As a Yanhuang tribesman with no status to speak of, forming a good relationship with him would bring him endless blessings and a carefree life in the future. All he had to do was give up 3 maidservants. This was a great deal. Even a fool would agree to it. Actually, I have a strange hobby too. I like to collect maidservants. The 3 in front of him weren't even enough. Why don't you give your sister and mother to me as maidservants? Jiang Tian sipped his immortal brew lightly. He did not even look at Crown Prince Mo Yang and chuckled. Moreover, my favorite maidservants are those who can warm my feet. I see that your sister has a voluptuous figure with ample bosoms. She is the most suitable to warm my feet. Jiang Tian's words were extremely embarrassing. He was like a shrew cursing on the streets. However, he spoke calmly and calmly. It was as though he was talking about the mysteries and preaching about scriptures. He was elegant and otherworldly. His words made everyone present dumbfounded. They didn't dare to believe it. This person actually dared to humiliate Crown Prince Mo Yang's mother and sister. He was too arrogant. Did he not want to live anymore? However, to Jiang Tian, this was already considered extremely polite. After all, he only coveted Yi Karen and the rest. These people were separated from Jiang Tian by a layer. They could not be compared to Zhao Xueqing and Huang Linger. If he dared to have any thoughts about Zhao Xueqing, Jiang Tian would have already killed him and beheaded him with his sword. This person is so shameless. Luoqi blushed and covered her ears. Some thin-skinned female cultivators and young ladies complained. This is too vulgar. In such an elegant and noble occasion, he actually has such a vulgar and wicked taste. You reckless fool. It is your honor that Crown Prince Mo Yang wants your maidservant. Aren't you going to gratefully hand it over? How dare you refuse? Mao Billion stomped her feet in anger, but was slapped by Mao Hongdai, causing blood to spurt from the corner of her mouth. How dare you talk to me like that? As for Princess Yu Jiao, she was so shocked that her round eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Then she was so embarrassed that her face turned red and she clenched her teeth in anger. Immortal Master Starslaughter, you've gone too far. This prince wants to discuss things with you. It's fine if you don't agree, but you actually dare to humiliate me like this. Crown Prince Mo Yang was so angry that his handsome face turned red and his whole body trembled. He took up a stance and his true essence erupted as he shouted. Could it be you want to provoke this prince? Then let's do it. Sure. Jiang Tian sneered and said. What's so great about a mere first-level golden core? Fine, I'll break your bones today. As soon as these words were spoken, countless people looked at each other in disbelief. A son of a big city frowned and said, this kid is too arrogant. He even dares to provoke Crown Prince Mo Yang. Doesn't he know what Crown Prince Mo Yang is capable of? You're just a small fry. Shou Lei stood up and leaped out, exuding a monstrous aura of a wild beast. He approached with a ferocious smile. A small fry like you doesn't deserve Crown Prince Mo Yang's help. I'm more than enough to kill you. It's over. It's over. Li Wuji was shocked and scared. His whole body trembled and cold sweat rolled down his forehead. He wanted to cry but had no tears. He muttered, You've offended everyone today. We're definitely going to die here. You're not qualified to lead the team. Isn't it better to keep a low profile? Jiang Tian turned around and looked at him calmly. He said with a smile, "What are you afraid of? It's not like I haven't killed a golden core before." Jiang Tian stood up. Suddenly, the atmosphere became tense. A battle was about to break out. "Crown Prince Emoyang, what are you doing?" At this moment, Fan Xiuzhu suddenly appeared. He raised his eyebrows and shouted coldly, "What do you think of the Changshan sect? It's my aunt's lecture today. How dare you make trouble here? Do you want to provoke the Changshan sect and be suppressed by them?" "That's not what I meant." Crown Prince Emoyang was so angry that his complexion turned ashen. He clenched his teeth so hard that they nearly broke. However, seeing this, he forced a smile, clasped his hands and said, "Immortal Master Star Butcher and I were discussing the sale of maidservants. It's just that we haven't reached an agreement yet. There's no reason to force a deal. It's strictly forbidden to fight here. If you have any grudges, you can deal with them outside after the lecture." Fan Xiuzhu and Crown Prince Emoyang were not comparable in status and cultivation. They were both subjects of the Yunlan kingdom. However, he had Fan Luomei as his shield. Even Crown Prince Emoyang didn't dare to offend him. Fan Xiuzhu had the power to carry out his orders. He stood with his hands behind his back. He glanced around and said with disdain, "Fairy Luomei will be here in 15 minutes. Please stay in your positions and don't move around. Keep quiet and be respectful." "Okay. I won't do anything now because of you, Fan Xiuzhu." Crown Prince Emoyang's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He grunted and said, "But it's not his turn to behave atrociously in the Yunlan kingdom. I'll have a chance to do something. If he wants to die, I'll fulfill his wish and tear him to pieces with my own hands." "Behave atrociously?" Jiang Tian looked at him with disdain and smiled. "There are thousands of cities and sects in Westland. There's no place where I don't dare to behave atrociously. If you want to make trouble, I'll give you a chance." Crown Prince Emoyang didn't want to argue with Jiang Tian. He smiled and went back to his seat with Sholei. However, he kept whispering and glancing at Jiang Tian from time to time. Fan Xiuzhu had a serious expression. He came to Jiang Tian's seat and said, "Immortal Master Xing Tu, my aunt will be here later. She will first inspect the Saintess, then talk about Dao. Finally, it will be a challenge between the various geniuses. Feng Batian, Sholei, and Crown Prince Emoyang already see you as a thorn in their flesh. They will definitely challenge you in the last segment, but don't accept their challenge. You are not a disciple waiting to be chosen. They can't force you. With my aunt around, they won't dare to violate the rules." Jiang Tian smiled and didn't comment. At that moment, Malbilian also walked over and said anxiously, "Immortal Master Xing Tu, you have already brought disaster to my family. I beg you, please keep a low profile. Otherwise, my Mao family will also be consigned to eternal damnation by you." She didn't care about Jiang Tian's life and death. She even hoped that Jiang Tian would die quickly. But the current development was beyond her imagination. It affected the Mao family, and this was not something she could control. Fan Xiuzhu also had a headache. He advised, "After this is over, you should leave Maolin City quickly. You can't even stay in the entire western region. Go to the southern region. I heard that there are more Yan Huang tribe members there." Jiang Tian smiled faintly. "All right, Xiuzhu, I appreciate your good intentions. But I'm not afraid of these bastards. You." Malbilian was so angry that her face turned white. She almost jumped up. How could this person be so ungrateful and stubborn? All right. Drink some wine and cool down." Fan Xiuzhu didn't try to persuade him again. He chuckled and advised Jiang Tian to drink. Cultivators were all prideful. How could Immortal Master Xing Tu show that he was afraid of a battle? However, it was expected that with his wisdom, he would make the wisest choice, which was to avoid the brunt of the attack and endure patiently. Everyone is gathered here to discuss the meaning of the Great Tao. I hope that everyone will speak their minds today. At this time, a voice that sounded like heavenly music rang out. Instantly, the whole place fell silent. Everyone felt refreshed, as though a spring breeze had brushed their faces. It was like a cool summer day. Even the murderous intent in Prince Emoyang and the others dissipated. As the voice sounded, the murderous intent in many people's hearts was swept away. It was like the heavenly music from the 9 heavens, ethereal and ethereal. It could linger for 3 days. Even Thunder Beast and Feng Batian, who were ruthless and decisive in killing, couldn't help but become calm. Hearing this voice, Jiang Tian couldn't help but nod secretly. This immortality art was very similar to the great clear heart mantra of Buddhism in the cultivation world. It was also similar to the Song of a Natao of Tao. It was a mystique that used sound to interfere with the other's mind. The listener would break away from the mortal world. His body would become a Bodhi tree, and his heart would be like a mirror. Originally, there was nothing, so where was the dust? Naturally, he would feel extremely comfortable. Fairy Luomei. She's finally here. At this time, countless people showed reverence and yearning. They looked toward the direction of the voice as if they had seen a goddess. They saw a woman in a snow-white robe. Her black hair fluttered in the wind. She was draped in soft moonlight, and her bare feet stepped on the spiraling clouds. Chapter 1105. She was surrounded by clouds and soft moonlight. She was ethereal and graceful, and her aura was extraordinary. She was like a fairy that had descended to the mortal world. At this moment, refreshing air slowly arrived as various phenomena appeared. Moonlight poured down like milk, causing the petals of flowers to fall in profusion, and the petals of flowers were sparkling and translucent like jade as they flickered with multicolored lights. Numerous golden lotuses gushed out from beneath his feet, as they condensed the energy of heaven and earth. As she got closer, Luomei's true appearance could finally be seen. Her jade-like face was radiant, and her beauty was indescribable. Her black hair was like a waterfall, and her chest was high. Her waist was slender, and her waist was slender. She was too thin and too plump. Her jade-like arms were as white as snow, and her slender legs and beautiful feet were sparkling with an attractive luster. Compared to the rain of flowers in the sky, she was even more magnificent and moving. Her eyes were cold, as calm as an ancient well. They were clear and deep, and extremely calm. The only flaw was that she lacked vitality and liveliness. She was like a high and mighty goddess, and nothing in this world could move her in the slightest. Behind her, there were more than 10 experts, and each of them had an extraordinary aura. They were not inferior to Prince Mo Yang. There were experts from the Changshan sect in black robes, Red Lotus, the elite disciple of the fire worship sect in the west, Lung Jianfeng, the chief disciple of the Sword Palace in the south, and Monk Wuxin from the Devil Cliff Temple. These experts did not belong to the Cloud Mist country, so they were not here to participate in the selection. They were quite famous, and they had a good relationship with Luomei. This time, they were here to observe the ceremony, and also to help their faction find some talents. Greetings, Luomei. When Luomei landed on the high stone platform, many people knelt on the ground. Immediately, countless people knelt on the ground and prostrated themselves in worship. Everyone was infatuated, but at the same time, they were filled with reverence and excitement. Even Prince Mo Yang, who had no scruples, bowed and saluted her with a stern expression. He felt that he could only admire her from afar. Even Mao Hongdai, who was the daughter of the city master, and Princess Yujiao, who was a princess, felt ashamed of their inferiority. As for Luo Qi, who was a lady from a prestigious family, she wished she could kill herself. She felt ashamed of her inferiority, and she was like a chicken that had met a phoenix. They were all proud daughters. No matter their background, talent, or cultivation, they did not need to belittle themselves. They were proud of themselves. However, when they saw Fairy Luomei, they couldn't help but sigh and admit their inferiority. Fellow Taoists, please rise. Fairy Luomei sat down and stretched out her hands slightly. She had a graceful bearing as if she was a high and mighty empress. Everyone thanked him and returned to their seats. Thank you for taking care of and nurturing the saintess and holy child. It's not easy for you to work so hard. Fairy Luomei said calmly. Luomei thanks everyone on behalf of Lord Sect Master, Elders and Hall Masters. The time limit of 3 years is up. This time, there are 38 holy children and holy maidens in the Yunlan nation who have come of age. Invite them up. Immediately, Mao Hongdai and many other holy children and holy maidens walked out. They had name tags hanging in front of their chests, with their names, ages, backgrounds, and so on written on them. The saintess chosen by Shillong City has lost her virginity and her primordial yin has leaked. Remove them and execute their entire family. Fairy Luo may scan the area with her divine sense and her face darkened. Lord of Shillong City, you have failed to fulfill the trust entrusted to you. Your crime cannot be forgiven. Do you think I'm a fool? You want to hide the fact that you repaired your virginity from me? I was defiled by a thief. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. Fairy, please spare my life. The holy maiden of Shillong City was so frightened that she burst into tears. She trembled and knelt on the ground, kowtowing until her head bled. Fairy Luomei, please give me a chance. I was careless in this matter. In the past 100 years, I have never made any mistakes. The Lord of Shillong City also knelt on the ground and begged. He was also in the early stage of foundation establishment, and ruled over millions of mortals. He could be considered a tyrant, but in front of Fairy Luomei, how could he dare to resist? Lord Mao, Crown Prince Mo Yang, please help me say something. Seeing Fairy Luomei's unfriendly expression, the Lord of Shillong City was so frightened that he trembled. Large droplets of sweat appeared. Lord Mao shook his head bitterly and sighed inwardly. How can I help you? If not for Kong Teichu's help, my daughter would have died. Crown Prince Mo Yang turned a deaf ear. He looked up at the sky and said to Princess Yujiao, "The moon is beautiful today. You have no reason to say that you are not worthy of forgiveness. Leaving your corpse intact is already my mercy." Fairy Luomei's expression was as calm as water as she said coldly. 8 black-clothed and masked longevity sect enforcers flew out from a secluded area and swept their long sabers. The Lord of Shillong City still wanted to dodge, but he could not. His head flew off and his corpse rolled on the ground, blood spurting out of his mouth. Whoosh! The long sabers swept again, and the holy maiden who had already lost her virginity was cut into 8 pieces. At the same time, the longevity sect army stationed at the foot of the mountain. 1,000 cavalrymen galloped out, all of them in the early stage of foundation establishment. Their sabers flashed as they rushed toward Shillong City. At this moment, the many lords, heroes, talents, and geniuses below the stage could not help but be shocked. This was the authority of the longevity sect's special envoy. One word determined the life and death of a city lord, and one word destroyed a tyrant's family, as expected of the representative of a peerless sect. Mao Hongdai, I heard that your face was disfigured and your lifespan was depleted. Now that you have recovered, let me take a look. Immediately, a servant came out to clean up the corpse. Fairy Luomei's expression did not change as she looked at Mao Hongdai. Yes, Fairy. Mao Hongdai quickly lifted her Dharma artifact veil. Immediately, everyone's eyes lit up. Although Mao Hongdia's appearance was not as good as Fairy Luomei's, she was already far more beautiful than ordinary girls. Very good. Fairy Luomei smiled for the first time, but she still gave people a cold and inviolable feeling. I heard that you were poisoned by the Hellfire Spider, who is so skilled in medicine that not only did he completely detoxify you, but he also improved your constitution. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Who could have such amazing medical skills? At this moment, Fan Xiuzhu pushed Jiang Tian out and said loudly, "Aunt, it's immortal Master Xing too. He saved me before by killing Wu Gong." Shou Lei's face darkened. Humph. Fan Xiuzhu obviously wanted Fairy Luomei to say that he would not pursue the matter of killing Wu Gong, and the 3 elders. Oh, immortal Master Xing too is so skilled in medicine? Luomei really admires him. Fairy Luomei looked at Jiang Tian and exclaimed, "You cured Mao Hongdai, and I will reward you after this." Hearing that, Shou Lei and Feng Batian were depressed and kept grinding their teeth. Crown Prince Mo Yang also snorted coldly. Immortal Master Xing too is so lucky. With Fairy Luomei's amulet, how can we kill him? It's just a little bit of cultivation, not worth mentioning. Jiang Tian nodded slightly, and did not stand up to thank Fairy Luomei. Is this guy crazy? Fairy Luomei praised him and rewarded him, but he did not bow to her. How rude. Mao Billion complained in her heart. Good, Although there were some mistakes in welcoming the Holy Child and the Holy Virgin, I am still satisfied. Next, Luo Mei will embarrass herself. First, I will talk about the Reincarnation Sutra. I hope everyone can correct me if there are any mistakes. Fairy Luo Mei only took a deep look at Jiang Tian. She did not show any dissatisfaction. She sat on the praying mat like a goddess. Her bearing was magnificent, and her beauty was peerless. The immortal Tao is precious, immeasurable salvation. The secret of longevity comes from the heart. Fairy Luo Mei talked about the sutra and discussed Tao. She explained the profound in simple terms and went from simple to complicated. When she talked about the essence of the sutra, the surrounding orchids surged, the golden palace appeared, and the clouds rose. She was eloquent and eloquent. When she talked about the sutra once, the devout believers' hearts were clear. When she talked about the sutra twice, the worries were gone. When she talked about the sutra thrice, the hearts of the people were clear. When she talked about the sutra thrice, the hidden injuries were gone. When she talked about the sutra thrice, the teeth were healed. Immeasurable bandits gain thoughts. The sea of Tao surges. Tao and righteousness flow together. Nourish the seedlings. To relieve hunger and poverty. The strange phenomenon around her gradually merged with her body. She looked solemn and dignified, like a female bodhisattva sitting high in the 9 levels of heaven. She recited the words of heaven and earth, causing auspicious signs to overflow and descend, completely covering the golden lotus mountain. For a moment, many people in the surroundings were intoxicated. Many of them had obstacles in their cultivation and inner demons. At this moment, it was as if they were suddenly enlightened and enlightened. Everyone's hearts were shaken, as if they were on a spiritual journey. They exclaimed in admiration. Even a talented person like Crown Prince Emoyang was fascinated by the sutra. Jiang Tian sat in the corner, unmoved. The past reincarnation sutra that this woman was talking about was still too shallow. It was essentially a method to bewitch people and establish faith. However, this woman's brow bone was indeed an immortal bone. Her comprehension ability was shocking, and she was capable of comprehending all techniques. When combined with her own comprehension, this simple technique was infinitely improved, causing others to feel a rather extraordinary feeling of reverence in their hearts. Fairy Luo Mei's lecture only lasted for an hour, but to everyone, every word was like a gem. Her words were profound, and they were endlessly beneficial. Many people respected her and were 10 times more interested in the Changshan sect. When she announced the end of the lecture, many people wanted to continue and asked her to continue. I can understand your feelings, but we're destined to meet and part. Today's lecture is already our fate. That's it. We've already broken up. Fairy Luo Mei declined politely. Then she smiled and changed the topic. However, there's another part of this ceremony. I'm going to choose a disciple on behalf of the Changshan sect. We haven't seen each other for 3 years. I'm sure all of you have made great progress in your cultivation. Why don't we have a duel and let me admire you? She waved her hand and a palm-sized stone flew out of her sleeve. The stone flew higher and bigger, and turned into a giant arena with a radius of a few thousand meters. It floated in the air in front of the Golden Lotus Mountain, the life and death arena of the Changshan sect. It's also called the deity slaying arena. Countless immortal masters have died on it, including Golden Core perfected immortals. Everyone was slightly moved and exclaimed in surprise. The deity slaying arena was covered with patterns and let out thousands of rays of golden light. It could withstand 10,000 attacks from a Foundation establishment overlord without being destroyed. There was a thick layer of blood on it, forming a deep red paste. There was a pungent smell of blood. The blood of countless overlords had been poured into it. I hope that all of you will be able to display your cultivation without fear or worry. Those with the best potential can join the Changshan sect with me. We'll be fellow disciples in the future, and we can discuss cultivation together. Isn't that great? Fairy Luo Mei said gently. She said it politely. However, everyone knew what she meant. There could only be one winner in this battle. The competition was fierce. Crown Prince Emoyang smiled proudly, his eyes filled with disdain. He was determined to win. He was the most powerful among all the young talents present. It was certain that he would join the Changshan sect. Because of that, nobody went on the arena. Once they did, they would be tortured to death by Prince Mo Yang and the other overlords. Immortal Master Xing too, I'll challenge you. Then, suddenly, a thunderous roar rang out. A person stood up and leaped out, crossing 1,000 meters and landing on the immortal slaying platform. He raised his finger and pointed at Jiang Tiandao. Chapter 1106. Feng Batian is really shameless. As the son of a huge city, he actually challenged the guard of a small city lord. Isn't he afraid of losing face? Looking over, a disciple from a large sect sneered. Feng Batian is a vengeful person. Immortal Master Star Butcher didn't even get up when he proposed a toast. Isn't he courting death? That's right. After all, how could Malin City be compared to Wine Blade City? Mao Billion is already out of her league by marrying him. Even Malin City Lord Mao Bohu has to be courteous to Feng Batian. He doesn't dare to put on airs as a father-in-law. A small guard, a lowly Yanhuang tribesman, dares to be rash and provoke him. He deserves to be beaten to death. This time, Immortal Master Star Butcher is dead for sure. His attack just now was clearly because Feng Batian wasn't prepared and suffered a loss. Now that Feng Batian is attacking with all his strength, won't he crush him with his bare hands? Everyone looked at Jiang Tian mockingly, as though Jiang Tian was already a dead man. Mao Hongdai had a nervous look on her face. She was worried for Jiang Tian. Mao Bohu stood up and raised his hand to stop him. Nephew Batian, sit down. You're not a match for Daoist Star Butcher. Mao Billion's eyes widened and she chuckled. Father, are you kidding? Batian is in the late Foundation establishment realm. He's stronger than you. He'll definitely win. Child, we're family after all. It's not good for anyone to lose. Mao Bohu smiled bitterly and shook his head. Father, what family? This immortal Master Star Butcher is just a guard. Mao Billion was sharp-tongued and ruthless. Moreover, he was so rude that he made my future husband lose face. He deserves to be taught a lesson. Mao Bohu frowned but didn't explain. Instead he said loudly, Batian, sit down. I'm advising you for your own good. You'll suffer a great loss. Uncle Hu, your guard is so strong. I have to learn from him today. Feng Batian laughed strangely, his eyes filled with killing intent. Although Jiang Tian had forced him to retreat, he and many others present believed that Jiang Tian had only attacked quickly, and was just lucky. At this moment, he had to get back at them. Mao Bohu was a little annoyed as he said, Since you call me uncle, then listen to my advice. Are you not going to listen to me? Haha, if I respect you, I'll call you uncle. If I don't respect you, you're nothing. Feng Batian snorted, his voice was not loud. However, everyone had a cultivation base, and quite a few people heard it. They couldn't help but shake their heads and smile bitterly. This guy is really stupid. Although this was a world where the strong were respected and not many people cared about seniority, this was not something that could be said in person. Xing Tu brat, are you still not going up on stage? Are you afraid of me? Come kowtow and admit defeat. Call me grandpa 3 times and I won't kill you. When he saw Jiang Tian not moving for a long time, Mao Bohu became even more complacent and arrogant. He stood with his hands on his hips, and his posture was arrogant and domineering as he roared loudly and ridiculed Jiang Tian to the extreme. Haha, good words can't persuade a damned person. Since you don't know what's good for you, I don't care anymore. Mao Bohu shook his head and smiled bitterly. He sat down and stopped trying to persuade him. To be honest, he didn't like his son-in-law. In fact, he was quite afraid and hated him. There was no other reason. The Windblade City insisted on this marriage just to seize the opportunity to seize Malin City. He only had 2 daughters and no children. In the eyes of the Windblade City, if Mao Hongdai was sent to the Chongqing sect or was blamed by the Chongqing sect for her disfigurement, then Malin City's vitality would be greatly damaged, and there would be no support for it. Feng Batian waited until Mao Bohu died, or he killed Mao Bohu directly, leaving only an idiot Mao Billion. It would be a piece of cake for him to take Malin City. Haha Batian, come on. Break Master Immortal Xing Tu's eyes. Mao Bilian kept waving her fists to cheer for her beloved. She pointed at Jiang Tian and shouted, Xing Tu, are you a good-for-nothing? What kind of guard are you? You don't even dare to fight with my husband. Jiang Tian was still sitting there with his eyes closed and breathing calmly, as if he didn't hear the clamor at all. In fact, he was communicating with Mao Bohu with his divine sense. After all, he had only been here for a short time, and there were too many forces here. Mao Bohu didn't talk about this good-for-nothing son-in-law. Jiang Tian wanted to judge whether this person should be killed. Jiang Tian was ruthless and merciless to his enemies, easily killing and exterminating their clans. But to his friends, he had always valued friendship and loyalty. If Mao Bohu really treated Feng Batian as his son-in-law, even if this guy was a good-for-nothing and spoke without restraint, Jiang Tian would still tolerate his disgust. You don't want to call me grandpa? Well, a good-for-nothing like you doesn't deserve to be my grandson. Well, if you bark like a dog and crawl down from the Golden Lotus throne, I can be merciful and not kill you. Seeing Jiang Tian remain silent, Mao Bohu was even more fearless. His eyes were full of contempt as he stood with his hands on his hips and laughed maniacally. At this time, all eyes were on Jiang Tian. Some were questioning, some were regretful, but most were gloating and mocking. Wasn't this guy pretty domineering just now? He even forced Feng Batian to retreat. Why is he not attacking after being humiliated like this? Could he really be of a low cultivation level? The Yan Huang tribe has always been good-for-nothings. They don't have any decent legacies or Tao teachings. He just sneaked in and took the initiative. In terms of strength, he's too weak. Sigh, what an idiot. Something's wrong with his brain. If he doesn't have strength, then don't be arrogant. Don't you know whose fist is bigger and who is right? Everyone was discussing and looking at Jiang Tian as though he was a joke. Yes, that's how it should be. Fellow Taoist Jiang, bear with it for a while. Let him be. Li Wuji gave a silent thumbs up and praised. Master, attack. How can you be humiliated by this bastard? Tang Linglong was so angry that her beautiful eyes were on the verge of tears. She urged in a low voice. Star Butcher, according to the rules, you can't refuse a challenge on the Golden Lotus platform. If you refuse, it means you admit defeat. You should leave the Golden Lotus platform now. Sholei stared at Jiang Tian and grinned maliciously. He was counting his chickens before they hatched. As long as Jiang Tian left the Golden Lotus platform, he would not be at the ceremony, and he would be able to take revenge. Aunt, you have to uphold justice. Fan Xiuju's face changed. He stood up and shouted loudly. Immortal Master Star Butcher is a guard of the Mao family. He is involved in the organization and reception of the ceremony. He doesn't have to take part in the competition or leave the mountain. Fan Luomei looked at Jiang Tian with a half-smile, as though she had not heard her nephew. At this time, Jiang Tian had found out the truth between the Mao family and the Feng family. He finally opened his eyes, turned around, and looked directly at Feng Batian on the platform. You want to die? You really think I can't kill you? Haha, Immortal Master Star Butcher is so arrogant. If you want to kill me, I can beat you up with only one hand. Feng Batian put his left hand behind his back and stood proudly. Essence Chi surged. Suddenly, strong winds howled around him, forming a tornado that was 1,000 meters tall. It connected the heavens and the earth, and its aura was monstrous. The wind was not normal wind, but wind blades formed by Essence Chi. They were sharp and could easily kill a Chi refinement overlord. The wind howled and thousands of wind blades spun. They rubbed against the ground, producing sharp clanging sounds and sparks. You're on the verge of death. Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Jiang Tian's face darkened. He stepped on the air and crossed 1,000 meters to arrive on the platform. Chapter 1107. I can't believe he went up there. He must have a death wish. In the crowd, Luoqi shook her head in disdain. This guy is too stupid. You're only in the middle stage of the foundation establishment stage. How can you be his opponent? If you can't beat him, just hold your nose and bear with it. Weaklings should have the self-awareness of weaklings. Just lie on the ground and bear with it. Haha, he went up there. I'll show you my husband's ability. Mao Billion was pleasantly surprised. Why did you go up there? Fan Xiuju's face tightened. He stomped his feet and complained to himself. He shouted, "This is a battle of Dao. Feng, you're not allowed to hurt or kill anyone." A battle of Dao is not only about winning or losing, but also about life and death. Today, I must kill him. Feng laughed as he stared fixedly at Jiang Tian, like a prehistoric giant beast staring at a little white rabbit. You talk too much. Jiang Tian's face was emotionless. He waved his hand and struck out with his palm. This wave was light, and without a trace of smoke or fire. It seemed to be harmless. However, Feng Beishan's heart sank. He was on high alert. An invisible palm energy struck him, and he felt as if 10,000 mountains were crashing into him at the same time. That kind of terrifying pressure almost crushed all the bones in his body. Break! Feng roared. Suddenly, 10,000 wind blades turned around and spun towards Jiang Tian's palm attack. Furious wind blades. This was the Feng family's ultimate skill. 10,000 wind blades were like a 1,000-meter-long dragon. They flew towards Jiang Tian like a tornado. How dare you use wind blades in front of me? You're asking for trouble. Jiang Tian's face was calm. He did not attack a second time. He looked extremely calm and confident. Boom. Crack. 10,000 wind blades collided with Jiang Tian's invisible fist attack. Suddenly, all the wind blades did not even last for a second. They shattered like paper and then exploded uncontrollably. Then this invisible palm energy slammed into Feng like a high-speed train. What? Amidst his exclamation, Feng Beishan's numerous protective magic treasures erupted at the same time. For a moment, the sky was filled with light and astral winds were everywhere. He wanted to block Jiang Tian's attack. Bang bang bang. However, under Jiang Tian's vast palm power, everything was useless. Roar. Feng let out a miserable howl as he was thrown out of the life and death stage. His clothes were torn and tattered, and his body was dyed with blood. His skin and flesh were lacerated, and he fell down the mountain like a kite with its string cut. How could this be? Countless people cried out in shock. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets, and their faces were full of disbelief. Feng Beishan's furious wind 10,000 blades was actually no match for Jiang Tian's light palm strike. Heavens, this is too strong. Luoqi was so scared that her face turned pale. Batian. Mao Billion's expression changed drastically. She never thought that Jiang Tian would be so powerful that he could defeat her Mr. Right with one strike. She didn't react quickly either. With a flick of her right hand, a flying magic tool shot out and caught Feng Batian by a hair's breadth. Xingtu, I won't let you go. I'm going to tear you into pieces. As the son of a giant city and a genius of his generation, Feng Batian had never suffered such a setback and humiliation. At this time he was so angry that he couldn't take it anymore. He had forgotten that Jiang Tian's strength had far surpassed his. Kill. He gathered his strength and stepped on the ground. With the help of the flying magic tool he flew toward the life and death stage. I've already given you a chance, but I didn't expect you to be so stubborn. Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Jiang Tian laughed, and his killing intent rose. Before this, he didn't use his magic power and divine powers at all. He only relied on his physical strength, and only used 10% of his strength. However, Feng Batian was still unwilling to let him go. Jiang Tian wasn't a pushover, so how could he let him go? Jiang Tian raised his hand and made a grabbing motion. Suddenly, a 10-meter-long Gungjin giant palm burst out and grabbed Feng Batian like the five-finger mountain of Buddha. Feng Batian was caught before he could fly to the life and death stage. He was frightened out of his wits. Let go of me, Xingtu. I swear that I'll catch you and use my wind blades to kill you. I'll destroy your divine soul. He roared and his true essence erupted. Streams of wind attribute aura gushed out and turned into sharp sabers, spears, swords, halberds, tigers, lions, and other avatars. They charged fiercely and tried to break free from Jiang Tian's control. Haha! It turns out that your wind blade giant city is weak, but you're quite good at talking. Jiang Tian laughed. The gung metal palm suddenly clenched. Crack! Feng Beishan's true essence was destroyed and his avatars disappeared. His bones and tendons were broken, and blood spurted out of his 7 orifices like arrows. Pieces of his internal organs were also spat out of his mouth. He couldn't even scream. Jiang Tian raised his hand. Rumble. Feng Batian smashed heavily on the ground like a dead dog. He let out a muffled sound and blood splattered everywhere. Jiang Tian stepped on his chest and sneered. The Yanhuang tribe is weak. You can kill me with one hand? Get up. He won. So strong. Everyone finally woke up and looked at Jiang Tian as though they were looking at a freak. They were shocked. Mao Bilian's face was pale and her heart was pounding. She never expected Jiang Tian to be so strong. He could suppress Feng Batian, who was in the late Foundation establishment realm. With this strength, he could become a dragon and stand shoulder to shoulder with the sons of the city lords and the successors of the great sections. Immortal Master Xingtu, please have mercy. We're just sparring. There's no need to kill. Prince Mo Yang stood up to uphold justice. He didn't like Feng Batian. But after all, Windblade City was a huge city under the rule of the Yunlan nation. The death of an expert was a great loss. Immortal Master Xingtu, please spare his life for my father's sake. I will remember Senior Xingtu's kindness. Mao Bilian stood up and bowed, begging for mercy. Her tears flowed like a pear blossom in the rain. She looked so pitiful that no man could resist her. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 6 figures leaped out from the shadows. With a shake of their arms, they landed on the high platform like huge birds and surrounded Jiang Tian. These were the personal guards of the Windblade City Lord. They were all in the late Foundation establishment realm, and were under the orders of the City Lord to protect the young master. Feng Batian's cultivation level wasn't the best and his character was unruly. The reason why he could be so unrestrained in the Yunlan nation was because of the protection of these experts. Otherwise he would have been killed long ago. The 6 experts had a solemn aura and dense true essence. Their faces were gloomy and murderous. One of them tried to persuade. Immortal Master Xingtu, our young master has lost. Please spare him. Another one threatened in a deep voice. If Immortal Master Xingtu shows mercy, you will be a friend of Windblade City. If you dare to hurt anyone again, Windblade City will cut you into pieces and let you die without a burial place. Are you threatening me? Fine, I will kill him. Let's see what you can do to me. Jiang Tian's eyes were cold and merciless. Then he stomped on Feng Batian as the crowd exclaimed. Suddenly, Feng Batian's body exploded. Blood gushed out like a tide, broken bones flew, and pieces of internal organs splattered. Sparkling and translucent flesh rained down in all directions like waves. He killed Feng Batian. The entire Golden Lotus platform was dead silent. Even Crown Prince Mo Yang's face changed drastically. He didn't expect Jiang Tian to really kill Feng Batian. How is this possible? Princess Yu Jiao's cute little face turned pale, and was full of shock and fear. Her round eyes almost popped out of their sockets. It's so scary. So cruel. So scary. His heart is still beating. Luo Qi was so scared that she covered her cute little face with both hands. However, she peeked through the gaps between her fingers. In their eyes, Jiang Tian was just an ordinary cultivator, and a weak bodyguard who could be bullied. Now that he attacked, it was earth-shattering. He killed Feng Batian in 2 moves with ease as though he was crushing an ant. It was unbelievable. How strong is he? Could he have reached the late-stage Foundation establishment realm? Many of the cultivators present were shocked. Even the geniuses and dragons among men were deeply shocked. Previously, Feng Batian was arrogant and domineering, scolding and mocking. However, Jiang Tian was like an old monk in meditation, and didn't react for a long time. Many people thought that Jiang Tian was too weak to attack because of his low cultivation. However, they didn't expect him to be such a terrifying expert. Most importantly, Jiang Tian still killed Feng Batian despite everyone's threats and persuasion. He didn't hesitate at all. His ruthlessness and decisiveness were even more frightening. Star Slaughter. How dare you? Crown Prince Mo Yang was so angry that his face turned green. He had tried to persuade Jiang Tian, but Jiang Tian had already killed him. He didn't take him seriously at all. Star Slaughter, you are so ruthless. You are so ruthless. How could you kill someone? How could you kill my future husband? Mao Bilian's face was pale and her body was trembling. She was heartbroken and wailed, beating her chest and stamping her feet as she screamed hysterically. Fellow cultivator, you ignored my advice and started a massacre. Do you think there is no one in the Cloud Mist country who can stop you? Sholei stood up with an unfriendly expression and roared like a wild beast. His voice was like rolling thunder. Although this person looked reckless, he was actually quite scheming. In short, he had pitted Jiang Tian against the Cloud Mist country. Jiang Tian had to pinch his nose and admit his mistake. Otherwise, he would become the enemy of all the geniuses in the Cloud Mist country. What awaited Jiang Tian was him. Everyone had the right to kill him. It was a terrifying war of attrition. Chapter 1108. You're going too far, aren't you? Seeing this, Fan Xiaozhu stood up and supported Jiang Tian with a clear attitude. It's a fight to the death on the life and death ring. Besides, Feng Batian has already said that it's a matter of life and death. You can't blame anyone for being weaker than him. Father, he killed my future husband. Hurry up and deal with him. I want him to pay with his life. Mao Bilian was still crying and complaining about Jiang Tian's violence. Idiot. Shut up. Mao Hongdai was annoyed. She slapped her and fell to the ground. Blood spurted from her nose and she felt dizzy. Mao Hongdai stood up and glanced at the crowd. She said angrily, if Celestial Master Xingtu was the one who died, would you stand up for him and blame Feng Batian? I'm afraid they'll applaud and raise their glasses to celebrate. Senior Xingtu killed his opponent. What right do you have to point fingers at him? Your double standards are so unfair. It's disgusting and disgusting. Many people smiled wryly after hearing what she said. Mao Hongdai is too naive. This competition has never been a fair one. A descendant of a large sect said. For example, even if Princess Yu Jiao is only a Qi refinement cultivator, she would still be able to pass the competition. She's not scary, but the house of the Yunlan nation is. Haha, Celestial Master Xingtu is so bold. He killed Feng Batian. He's in big trouble now. Windblade City won't let him go. Someone smiled wryly. The city lord of Windblade City had always been vicious and merciless. He was powerful and had many powerful cultivators. Unless Xingtu had the chance to join the longevity sect, he would be killed until not even his bones remained. It'll be troublesome even if he joins the Changshan sect. I heard that Feng Batian's grandfather, Feng Qiqing, is the guest elder of the Changshan sect. Someone shook his head. Feng Qiqing. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's pupils constricted and their hearts trembled. That was a peerless, ferocious veteran golden core cultivator. Bully you? Jiang Tian's face was calm, as if he had just crushed an ant. His eyes were indifferent, but there was a deep arrogance in them. He said indifferently, yes, we are bullying you. What can you do about it? In my eyes, your Cloud Mist nation is nothing but a bunch of idiots. Who's not convinced? Come up. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was furious and agitated. This person was too arrogant. He simply did not put the heroes of the world in his eyes. This kid is quite interesting. Even Red Lotus, Lung Jianfeng, and Zen Master Wuxin, who were originally sitting outside leisurely drinking tea, looked at Jiang Tian with interest and no longer ignored his existence. Brat, you're courting death. Rumble. The 6 guards of the Windblade City roared in unison. Their long sabers swept out, and wind blades filled the sky. They ignored the rules and attacked Jiang Tian. These people were all in the late stage of foundation establishment, and their strength was not inferior to Feng Batian's. At this moment, they attacked together with tacit understanding, causing their might to increase by several times. It was as if they wanted to destroy the heavens and the earth. Go to hell. Jiang Tian's face was calm. He waved his finger. Countless gung metal chi weapons were released, overlapping and spreading out like a fan. They were dazzling and covered an area of a few hundred meters. Sizzle. 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 Blood gushed out. The 6 guards froze on the spot and remained motionless. Then they were cut into 8 pieces. Their steaming internal organs and body parts fell to the ground, splashing blood. The entire area was silent again. Everyone was deeply shocked and dumbfounded. With a wave of his finger, he killed 6 overlords in the late stage of Foundation establishment. Could it be that this person had already reached the peak of the Foundation establishment? Jiang Tian stood in the pool of blood, and his face was as calm as an ancient well. Prince Mo Yang, Beast Thunder, and Fairy Luo Mei could not make Jiang Tian feel the slightest bit of fear. He had 4 supreme divine bodies and thunder divine powers. He could destroy golden core cultivators with his bare hands and kill Foundation establishment cultivators with a flick of his finger. Besides, Fairy Luo Mei was only in the early stage of the golden core realm. I told you the Cloud Mist Nation is full of trash. Which trash will jump out first? Let me sharpen my blade. Jiang Tian's face was calm, but every word he said was harsh. Xing Tu, don't be so arrogant. Feng Batian is the weakest among us. Do you really think that you can suppress everyone here? Beast Thunder sneered. As the Zongzi of the beast-controlling sect, although he was not as talented as Prince Mo Yang, he had cultivated for 40 years and was the oldest among them. His cultivation was deep and his foundation was solid. He was especially proficient in the Divine Eyes Thousand Beast Tao. This kind of divine ability could absorb the souls of mutated beasts and simulate the intent phenomenon to form one's own attack. Once it was unleashed, it would be like a wave of beasts and demons. No one could resist it. Who didn't close their pants tight enough to let a birdman like you show yourself? You're not convinced? Then come up and accept your death. Jiang Tian did not even look at Beast Thunder and said mockingly, "Little bastard, you don't know who you've offended." Beast Thunder was enraged and his face turned ugly. He suddenly roared and jumped onto the life and death ring. Instantly, his Sea of Dantian roared and his true yuan exploded. The dense true essence in the surroundings turned into a 100-meter-long golden barbaric bull that appeared in front of his chest. The golden barbaric bull had large eyes and curved horns that were sharp and lofty like scimitars. They seemed as if they were cast from gold, and they were exceptionally heavy as if they were material. They were mighty and extraordinary. Enveloped in the golden barbaric bull's radiance, Beast Thunder looked like he was wearing golden armor, and stood proudly like a god of war. Moo! An earth-shattering roar sounded. The barbaric bull breathed out 2 streams of white air from its nose. Instantly, the barbaric bull's aura surged towards Jiang Tian. In that instant, the terrifying pressure was like a stampede of 10,000 bulls. The aura of the bulls soared into the sky like a flood breaking through a dam, destroying everything in its path. The soul of the golden barbaric bull. Countless people exclaimed. Even Crown Prince Mo Yang nodded slightly. His gaze was focused, revealing a hint of admiration as he commented, "The beast-controlling sect is indeed extraordinary." Beast Thunder took the soul of an ancient barbaric bull and infused it with his true yuan. Feng Batian once fought with him, but 3 of his ribs were broken. What? Feng Batian was defeated by Beast Thunder? No wonder he was so obedient. Everyone's expression suddenly turned solemn. This was the first time they had heard of such a secret. It could be seen how powerful Beast Thunder's golden barbaric bull was and how terrifying the power of the Thousand Beast Tao was. Many people thought that Jiang Tian would definitely lose. Especially Mao Billion. She even gritted her teeth and gloated at Jiang Tian's misfortune. She couldn't wait to kill him. "Master, be careful." Even though they were far away, Tang Linglong felt uneasy when she felt the terrifying barbaric bull's aura. Yi Karen and Lady Wu were also terrified. "You said yourself that you could kill a golden core cultivator. This is a Foundation establishment cultivator. You have to hold on." Li Wuji, on the other hand, kept wiping the cold sweat on his forehead. He wished he could turn around and run away. He muttered to himself to encourage himself. "How dare you use such a petty trick to embarrass yourself?" In the face of the golden barbaric bull's aura, Jiang Tian was at ease. He didn't take Beast Thunder seriously at all. What did he say? Hearing this, everyone's expression changed drastically. They felt that this guy was too arrogant and didn't know what was good for him. At that moment, the golden barbarian bull raised its hoof and charged towards Jiang Tian. The life and death arena trembled violently, as if it could crush mountains and rivers with its stomp. The golden barbaric bull's two sharp horns were curved like knives and aimed at Jiang Tian's chest. It was as fast as lightning and seemed to be able to break mountains. Get lost. Jiang Tian didn't even bat an eyelid. He clapped his right hand. Suddenly, the vermilion bird True Fire formed a huge palm. It was so bright that it made people cry. The vermilion bird divine body was invincible. Its true core power was strong enough to shake mountains. Its temperature was as high as the true fire of the sun and the universe. It could melt gold and iron. It could burn and melt everything. Boom. The giant golden barbaric bull was knocked away by Jiang Tian's palm. Under the burning of the vermilion bird True Fire, the barbaric bull screamed and cracked. Its essence chi exploded and the gold melted into a liquid. Beast thunder spurted out a mouthful of blood and was shot backward like a cannonball, crashing into the golden lotus seat. Rumble. A human-shaped hole appeared on the wall of a hall. Following that, a series of loud bangs rang out. The beast thunder did not stop even after smashing through more than 10 halls. In the end, a mushroom cloud rose from the secondary peak a few kilometers away. It was unknown what the beast thunder had crashed into, but it was barely able to stabilize itself. The entire place was silent. Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Chapter 1109. What kind of monster is he? He is not even afraid of a peak foundation establishment cultivator. Could he have reached the false core stage? Luoqi's face turned pale. This kid is so strong. Brother, you have to be careful of Master Xing too. Princess Yujiao's body trembled. She no longer dared to underestimate Jiang Tian, and whispered to Crown Prince Mo Yang. I understand. This kid is indeed evil. On Crown Prince Mo Yang's handsome face, there was an unprecedented graveness. A strong sense of danger surged into his heart. Malbilian was so shocked that her jaw dropped to the ground. Beads of cold sweat appeared on her forehead. Everyone was dumbfounded. Everyone was terrified and deathly silent. Boom. There was a loud explosion. Roar. Bastard, Xing Tu, I will kill you. I will break your bones, pull out your tendons, and skin you alive. Sholei jumped out from the secondary peak. His body was like a dragon as he rose up and roared furiously. His roar shook the heavens. He stepped on the air and unleashed the full power of his 1,000-beast Dao eyes. All of a sudden, one spirit beast soul after another charged out of his sea of qi, infused with rich true energy. These beast spirits could be said to be innumerable. They were densely packed and formed a group. They carried a terrifying aura of ferocious beasts as they charged toward Jiang Tian. This scene was shocking. Other than beasts such as wolves, insects, tigers, leopards, eagles, falcons, and griffins, there were also some strange insects that shot out from the storage device at his waist. These strange insects were not souls, but real objects. There were countless of them, and they were densely packed together like mosquitoes. They formed a giant skull that was 100 meters wide, and it opened its bloody mouth and bit at Jiang Tian. Be careful of those black insects. They are soul-devouring insects. Seeing this, Mao Hongdia's expression changed. Even Mao Bohu jumped up in fright. Soul-devouring insects. These are the most precious treasures of the Imperial Beast sect. They have taken them out. Everyone's heart was pounding. Hee, it seems like the Imperial Beast sect is ambitious. They are determined to win this battle. Even Crown Prince Mo Yang was shocked. He shook his head and sighed. The soul-devouring bug was a kind of heaven and earth variant. It was born to devour other people's souls and minds as food. No one could resist it. His cultivation was actually higher than Sholei's, but he knew that if he encountered these soul-devouring insects, he had no chance of winning. In his eyes, Jiang Tian was also in danger this time. Haha, this time, no matter how capable you are doomed. Malbilian regained her composure, and a cold sneer appeared on her face. You want to kill me with just these? What a fool's dream. Jiang Tian chuckled. In the depths of his pupils, the vermilion bird divine pupils shone brightly. Instantly, the vermilion bird primordial fire gushed out like two lampposts illuminating the sky. It extended endlessly in the void and collided with the many beast souls and soul-devouring insect skeletons. Chila. Many soul-devouring insects and soul beasts were burned by the vermilion bird true fire. When the vermilion bird true fire came into contact with the beast souls and insects, it was like a hungry wolf that saw its prey. It suddenly exploded. The fire was as fast as lightning. It traveled along the beast souls and burned upward. It rushed to Cholet in one breath. What is this? The two fire dragons in his pupils grew bigger and bigger. Cholet was terrified. He screamed in despair. He did not even have a chance to escape. How could a human shoot fire from his eyes? Even though he had studied all kinds of secret skills, he had never seen such an evil way of fighting. In the next moment, he was deep in the sea of fire. In the blink of an eye, he was burned to ashes. Then with a bang he exploded in the air. The whole place was dead silent. It happened too fast. Everyone was dumbfounded. They could not come to their senses. They could not believe it. Jiang Tian did not even make a move. He only used the eye technique of the vermilion bird divine body. With just a glance he destroyed the soul-devouring insects, burned thousands of beasts, and killed Cholet. Maubilian smiled coldly and gloated. However, when she saw this scene, her smile froze on her face. Her eyes almost popped out. She was shocked. Mao Hongdai, Fan Xiuzhu, Princess Yu Jiao, Prince Mo Yang, and the other young experts were also shocked. Even Fairy Luo Mei, who had always been expressionless, narrowed her eyes and revealed a trace of shock. She was unable to maintain her composure. How can he be so strong? Maubilian felt that it was the first time she saw Jiang Tian. It was strange and hard to believe. When Jiang Tian killed Feng Batian with a flick of his finger, they could still think that Jiang Tian had performed extraordinarily well, and was just lucky. But now Jiang Tian killed Cholet with just a glance. He really showed the strength of a golden core cultivator. This person must have used some despicable demonic skill. It cannot be sustained. And a young expert under Crown Prince Mo Yang's command, Yin Yi, had already stood up, jumped onto the stage, and challenged Jiang Tian. He was also a Foundation Establishment cultivator, and he majored in swordsmanship. He was not like the Beast Trainer sect. But after a flick of a finger, Jiang Tian's vermilion bird true fire saber swept out horizontally, chopping this person in half at the waist and turning him into ashes. Yin Yi had just been defeated and killed. Okay, let's see if your evil fire or my earth fire gale is more powerful. In the western region, above the fiery desert, Red Lotus, an elite disciple of the fire worship sect, jumped onto the stage and challenged Jiang Tian. Is there something wrong with this guy? This is the selection of overlords from the Changshan sect in the Yinlan country. Who are you to jump out? Get out. Seeing him come out, Fan Xiuzhu broke out in cold sweat and was furious. He asked Fairy Luo Mei to do justice and kick this person out. This disciple of the fire worship sect, Red Lotus, was famous for having a special fire called the Red Lotus Earth Fire. It was said that this fire was obtained from 3,000 miles deep underground. When it was activated, it could burn everything. It was terrifying and powerful. The fire worship sect dominated the entire western region with this fire, and suppressed the entire fiery desert. Of course, the fire that Red Lotus had was only one of many, but it was enough to kill a golden core overlord. Xiuzhu, back off. You don't know what Immortal Master Xing Tu is capable of. I think he'll be fine. Fairy Luo Mei smiled and didn't stop Red Lotus from challenging Jiang Tian. Instead, she supported him. A battle broke out. After 3 flicks of a finger, Jiang Tian formed the Red Sparrow Claw, took away his Red Lotus Earth Fire, and clawed his head into ashes. The headless body was kicked out of the life and death ring by Jiang Tian. Another late-stage Foundation Establishment overlord of the Yellow Wind Valley, who was also unconvinced by Jiang Tian, was slapped into a pulp by Jiang Tian. This time, no one dared to challenge him again. Including Feng Batian and Cholet, Jiang Tian only used half an incense's time to kill 5 Foundation Establishment overlords. Moreover, that fire worship sect disciple had a heavenly unique flame, and his strength wasn't any weaker than Feng Batian and Cholet. Jiang Tian's strength could be said to be terrifying. Moreover, from the beginning to the end, He only flicked his finger and waved his hand. He could easily kill experts. This was even more terrifying. He really amazes everyone with a single brilliant feat. This Star Butcher is really powerful. At this moment, Princess Wuxia was deeply affected. She had forgotten Jiang Tian's mocking words, and the fact that her brother had treated Jiang Tian as an enemy. Her beautiful eyes were filled with a radiant splendor, and her plump chest heaved up and down violently. She admired Jiang Tian greatly. "Sister, what do you mean?" Crown Prince Mo Yang's face was bitter and depressed. "Looking at your budding love. You really want to be a servant of the Yan Huang tribe? Can you be clear about your position?" As for Mao Hongdai, she was also shocked and overjoyed. Originally, she thought highly of and relied heavily on Jiang Tian. However, she didn't expect Jiang Tian's strength to be beyond her imagination. Amit Ba, little monk will challenge immortal master Star Butcher. Suddenly, the senior monk of Devil Cliff Temple, the heartless Zen master, stood up. With a step, he easily crossed 1,000 meters and arrived at the life and death ring. After which, another expert stood up like a dragon and landed on the ring. It was Lung Jianfeng, the senior disciple of the Sword Palace of the southern border. Daoist Star Butcher, this Crown Prince will challenge your mystic techniques. Finally, Crown Prince Mo Yang also gritted his teeth and landed on the ring to face Jiang Tian amidst the exclamations of the crowd. The crowd was in an uproar. Finally, an elite genius made a move. Moreover, there were 3 of them. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.